Welcome to Keep Stream Skip Podcast. All right, we're here with Keep Stream Skip Season 2. And how you guys doing?
Good. So great.
All right, so we're recording video, so we got a lot to track while we're doing this, but it looks like we're good to go. My name is Nick, if you haven't heard us before.
I'm Samantha.
I'm Juliana.
And what we do is review movies, and whether they're current or in the past or they're buried deep within Tubi.
And we try to stick with a theme, and this theme today is winter films.
Winter films.
Winter.
Just to give you an overview, today's date is January 12th, 2025. And to start off the new year, like Samantha was saying, we do winter films. And what we do is we go over things like screenplay, direction, acting, cinematography, editing, music or score, special effects, and then the overall, and then we tell you whether or not we would keep, stream, or skip it. So to start us out, we are doing your pick, Samantha, which is
Fargo.
Yeah.
The movie, 1996, rated R.
Rated R.
I like how we all just said.
Hark.
If you haven't seen our past episodes, please do so. It'll give you a lot of input of how we kind of do things. So without any other delay, tell us about Fargo.
So the genre is...
Oh, spoilers. We do spoilers.
We do spoilers.
We spoil.
And sometimes we put a trigger warning, but the only trigger warning I can think about this one is if you have a shady spouse.
Yeah.
Shady spouse.
Shady spouse.
Shady spouse. All right, so it's a dark comedy. It's labeled as dark comedy, crime, drama, thriller, has all those things. It was written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen.
Yep.
Right?
Coen brothers.
Some of the actors was William H. Macy.
I love what they did with Something About Mary.
Francis McDormand.
Just,
And
I was
Steve
purposefully making
Buscemi.
a confusion with the Farley brothers,
Oh.
who did like Something
Okay.
About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene.
He's just
That goes over my
inserting
head.
things that we're trying to talk and, you know,
Moo.
what are spouses for? Anyway, so where can you find this film? Right now it's currently streaming on Peacock, Pluto TV, Roku, and Tubi. And we did watch it on Peacock, so not to have any ads pop up.
We love it.
All right, and so the budget of this movie was $7 million. It grossed over $60 million.
Yeah, their past film before this actually bombed, the Coen brothers, and then they actually made hand over fist money with this one back in '96. So good for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially with only a budget of $7 million. Like,
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
It's impressive.
And I know $7 million seems like a lot of money, but once you start doing all that screen stuff,
Well,
it's not.
look at how much some of the actors like ask for just for their own money. Like, I want this much or whatever. It's
Give me
the
money.
definitely.
Yeah.
So did we say who was in it?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Okay.
You
You were
over it.
talking over me, though.
Moo.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do the synopsis of the movie. And
Synops.
Sign off.
Synopsis. We need a dialect coach in here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but fun fact though, before we get started, they did have a dialect. They had a actual. The actors were required to read a book about how to speak Minnesotian.
Minnesotian.
And there's
Minnesotan.
actually
Is it Minnesotian?
yeah, and I looked
It's
it
not
up.
Minnesotan.
I looked it up, and they actually really do have books on how to speak Minnesotian.
Are we still sure it's Minnesotian?
Yeah, I'm like,
I
that's
feel
a
like it's Minnesotan.
hard.
I don't
Like,
know.
I feel like it's Minnesotan.
I can't appreciate your fact.
Minnesotian?
Okay.
Minnesotas?
I need a dialect coach here, okay?
Dialect coach.
I like Diet Minnesotan.
Hey. Actually, do they call it soda up there?
They probably call it pop. Or maybe Coke.
Maybe it's soda.
I feel like soda.
Soda sounds fun.
Ohio is very pop.
Ohio's pop.
Ugh.
Midwestern is pop.
I know one says like Coke, and then it doesn't actually mean you want a Coke. It
It
means
means you want a soda.
you want a soda.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. Was that?
I think it was
I want
soda
Coke.
up there.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I've never been and never lived, so you know more than we do.
Keepstreamskip@gmail.com. If you're from Minnesota, just let us know.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, we need help.
Please correct us.
All right, so there's a guy, the main character's name is Jerry, which is William H. Macy. And fun fact,
40-year-old in perpetuity.
well, and the fun fact about that is that he wanted this role so bad that he flew to New York and was like, quote, "I'm very worried that you are going to screw this movie by giving this role to someone else. It's my role, and I'll shoot your dogs if you don't give it to me."
Oh,
And
To
of
the Coen
course,
brothers.
and
I'll
of course,
shoot your dog?
and of course, like
I'll
at the
shoot your
end,
dogs.
at the end of this, they were like, it was like, but he was kidding about shooting the dogs, but he
Right.
just wanted it that bad
Right.
that he had to say that.
Are we sure about
William H.
don't know.
Macy. I
William
mess
H.
with my
Macy.
college kids, like
Is that all it takes to get a role?
just threatening.
Well,
to
you'd
shoot.
probably have to figure out where they are, so you'd have to have money
I can do that.
to go to New York and
I mean-
to find the person.
I can take it
I
alone.
don't know. Watch him give it to
I mean,
someone else.
he was right because it got nominated in awards.
Right,
Yeah.
it got nominated 7 times, and then it ended up
Right.
getting 2 Academy Awards.
Did he receive any of those awards?
No.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like he made the movie. Like
did.
I couldn't picture somebody else being Jerry
Yeah.
at that point. So Jerry meets these 2 men at a bar, and it's kind of shady because and they're shady men. I should
Or
say.
shady men.
One of them was
Steve Buscemi and Storm Air put together is a shady combination.
right. So he wants them to kidnap his wife for money, and of course, in a car. And I really didn't understand the car part.
So they can have a car that's they can use it, they could throw it away later. I thought that's how I kind of took it. But then Steve Buscemi was so wanting to keep the car for
At the
himself.
end, he's like, "I want the car. Give me the car."
That Pontiac is mine. It has that true coat,
But it turns out that his father-in-law is very wealthy and would never give him money, and so he's in debt somehow. And did we ever find out why?
Is it because he's doing the insurance fraud?
I think it was the insurance fraud, because he kept on saying we know you have the money, give us the numbers because we have to process it. And I think he
Right.
took the money.
Yeah,
Right.
because the VIN numbers, he was really shady on the VIN numbers, and
Right.
he's like,
He wasn't
"Oh,"
writing them.
the correct way.
Right.
Yeah.
And anytime they called, he would be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll fax it over.
Don't fax it.
Don't fax it.
Don't fax it.
Oh, that's not working."
So all in all,
Fun fact: she was born in North Dakota.
In North Dakota, eh?
Yeah, I almost said Carolina, but Dakota.
Not Carolina.
well, a fun fact: they did not even step foot in North Dakota to film
I
this.
wouldn't either.
Either. I lived there 11 years. I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'm like, no, man, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Anywho.
That'd be a lot of money.
It'd be, yeah.
So he wanted them to kidnap his wife for $40,000 plus a car, and he was supposed to get half of that $40,000 to do, I guess, pay back something. So it all kind of went down weird, okay? Because
It's like starting a bad orgy story. It's like it all went down weird.
first of all, you see,
No. Oh, jeez.
first of all, you see the masked man.
If you hear
with
a dog,
crowbar.
that is just
That's Toby.
that's Toby.
That's our mascot.
Yeah.
So we see the masked man with the crowbar, and she could see him too, and she does
right.
nothing.
Toby.
And
I wish you guys could see him
face.
turn around and look at us like, what?
what are you doing?
He's part beagle and he's trying to figure out curtains right now. All right, I think he's good.
Okay, so
Sorry.
you see the masked men through the porch window, and you're like, and she's just like looking at them.
She's just staring at. There's no survival skills in that woman.
Just staring at him.
She's just staring at him, like trying to look through the window.
I mean,
like,
my
what's he
my first
doing?
instinct would be to run and find the phone and call somebody.
Yeah, that's not the North
No,
Dakota
she
way.
stopped knitting. That's all she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, gee.
I'll stop this
who's
stitch. They
that?
may need
They
help.
must have really good intentions.
With a ski. It is cold out. Maybe that's why the ski mask wasn't as alarming as anybody else.
Yeah, honestly,
but I mean,
no joke.
but he has a crowbar.
I need help opening this crate. Ma'am, could you help
Just
me?
need some help.
I didn't knock on your front door because your
he
front
got
door
that
is
for?
slightly colder than your back window.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then
She probably would have let him in just based on that.
Yeah.
probably, and there you go.
Yeah.
She didn't have to break a window.
Yeah.
But anyway, he tried to fumble with the door, and then after like a little bit, he's like, "I'm just gonna break the window."
Yeah.
And then as soon as he breaks the window, that's when she starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. When she's like,
And
oh,
then runs in the
no.
bathroom with a corded phone because it's 1987 when this is supposed to take place. And then they pull on the cord and rips the phone out of her hand down to the door, which I thought was kind of, it just looked comedic the way that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I have a...
And that's why I think it's labeled as a dark comedy because
Oh, definitely,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The one thing I can say though, she was in the bathroom. She opened the window, so them being just idiots because they were
not. Smart.
They were like, "Oh, she jumped out the window, but she was in the bathtub or at the shower."
Behind the
Right.
shower curtain.
And had she waited like 5 more minutes for him to actually leave, I don't think they would have even noticed.
Well, he noticed the reflection of her shadow because it was kind of a clear shower curtain.
yeah,
She was
Oh,
hiding behind
yeah.
a clear
White,
shower
that's right.
curtain. So, but it was like not 100% clear. It
It's
was
like trans.
like frosted or
translucent.
whatever. But he like looked in the mirror and just started staring, and that's made her take off and then knock herself out when she tripped down the stairs.
And fell down
Right.
the stairs.
And then
yeah.
I just got to point out, does anybody remember Peter Storm Air in those Volkswagen commercials?
No.
Where he's like,
No.
oh, snap. You don't
No.
remember that?
No.
Yeah, he was like, and then he played Satan in, or Lucifer in Constantine. He was considered like...
Oh my gosh, that's where I know him from.
And then he was
Yeah.
in Jurassic Park, The Lost World.
Oh, okay.
He got eaten up by those compies.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen any of the Jurassic Parks.
Yeah. He also voices in Mercenaries the titular character, the blonde, I guess, Viking-like character. I can't remember. I think they modeled the Viking character off of Techno Viking, if I remember right. This is an old game, Mercenaries. It was a fun game.
I'm getting some lore.
Yeah. Peter Stormare is cool. He's a cool guy. So.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
All right, so Jerry tries to call off the whole thing right before because he was supposed to get a deal with the father-in-law, but then it turns out the father-in-law just wanted the deal for himself because he's like, I'm not a bank.
Well, he was
Jerry.
so stupid about it. He wanted all the money like he was a bank. And then he's like, no, we're going to invest in it. We're going to want a bigger cut than just interest. I can get interest any day.
Right.
Right.
It's so stupid. I don't know how he thought that was a Jerry move.
That was such a Jerry move. Right. He's totally Jerry.
But I really want just the money.
Just give me the money. I wasn't.
Give me the money.
And do you even think that he was going to build the parking lot?
They paved
We'll never
Paradise.
We'll never know.
Well, now we know who paved Paradise, though. They built a parking lot.
What?
You said parking lot.
Yeah.
They built a parking lot.
Yeah.
The song. They paved Paradise to build a parking lot or whatever. Counting Crows, I think it was.
I have
I don't
literally no idea.
You
what you're
guys
talking
don't know
about.
that song?
No.
No,
Obviously.
you're telling us stuff that we don't know today.
Good God.
One right after the
Yeah.
other.
This
We're
is all
over here
stuff
like-
thoroughly, like, I'm the youngest of you three.
What?
Called shenanigans on that
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong about the band, but I'll look it up afterwards.
Anywho.
Oh, excuse me.
one. So of course that didn't go
what you get
according
for
to Jerry's
lying.
plan.
Fucker.
Then
Great. I'm going to have to bleep that out because of monetization of stupid YouTube. Ugh. Yeah,
don't-
cursing
I
causes
don't give a-
issues.
Hoot.
oh well.
Hootenanny.
Hootenanny.
A darn tootins.
Darn tootin'. Oh, that's too far.
That's gone. We've
It's
gone
too
too far.
far.
Darn tootin'. I'll go ahead and count all these cars right now.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, gee.
All right, so meanwhile, the two kidnappers have the wife in the back, and they get pulled over by state police because they have dealership plates or something, or no plates at all.
Yeah.
And so their idea is because eventually the cop starts like thinking, oh, what the hell is going on? And then he hears what
The
was her
wife.
name? Did they even say her name?
Well, who if I know?
Let's call her Janice.
Janice.
I don't know.
They
thought
heard her in.
well, the cop that pulled him over. Are you at that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't hear her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did.
he did.
I thought
Like,
he just
right? Because
Like,
he
he
leaned
told him-
in.
End,
That's when
right.
he leaned in.
Well, I thought it was because he was trying to bribe him, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
And then
that
he's
happened.
like, "Here,
No,
get out of the
he-
car." And then
Right. And
right,
then
but he stuck his
she
head.
mumbled or like
he got
whimpered.
Peter Stormare's character like grabbed him and pulled him
Right,
in,
but
and
he
then shot him in the
leaned-
head.
Yeah.
He leaned in for that
But
to
he
happen.
leaned in because he heard something in the back.
Oh, I didn't
So
think
he
I heard
leaned
anything.
in to see
Yeah,
or
she
hear what that
whimpered.
was.
Oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden
And
he
yeah,
was
he was like, "Well,
pulled
that's
in, and then he's like,
interesting," and then leaned
like-
in, and then he was like, "Bam!"
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was because he was trying to bribe him and he wasn't going to be bribed, and then told him to get out of the car for bribery.
Well, why would he then lean into the car?
I thought he just was grabbed.
Nah.
I didn't think he was
Oh.
leaning in that much.
Nah.
Okay.
So then that's one body count, and so he tells
Brutal.
to get
Brutal
out.
body count. Poor dude.
Right. He tells
Popped him open like a soda.
He tells what was
Soda
Steve,
pop.
what was their name? Steve Buscemi's name? Did they even say his name?
I don't know. Thug number. The funny looking one.
Okay, the funny looking one was supposed to take care of
The Buscemiest of them all.
the body, the cop's body, because it was like in the middle of the road. So he's like, get out and drag it to the side so nobody sees it. So he's out there. He has the body. All of a
What are
sudden,
the odds of somebody driving down that damn road at that time in
Right,
the middle
yeah.
of the night
In
Right.
the middle of North Dakota.
in like tundra
right?
just to...
And they're like two teenagers. So I'm assuming they were coming back from somewhere.
Those were
I don't know.
teenagers?
They did not look like teenagers.
Yeah, they
Or
look like
young
grown-ass
adult.
people.
Yeah, they looked like 30-year-old people.
Oh,
I think we
maybe.
all had different
I don't know.
interpretations of what we watched at the same time. Ages, who grabbed what, why they grabbed them.
I think, yeah.
So then
We
what
watched 3 different
happened
movies.
was that he Steve Buscemi is outside the car. The other guy gets into the driver's seats and starts
Speeding after him.
speeding after him.
On those roads. And I told you, not a safe idea.
Right, because the other car like flipped over.
Off the road.
And then the one guy's like getting out of the car. Bad choice. I mean, I guess either way it was. a bad
Yeah,
choice.
he's going to shoot him
He's gonna
regardless.
shoot him.
It's either in the car or out of the car.
Right.
Right.
So he shoots him in the field, whatever, and then he shoots the other guy, and
Maybe you
then
should have circled the car.
Maybe. There was no music like that.
Thank God.
I know.
It would have fit, though.
All right, so now he's already committed 3 murders. 3 murders.
A whole 3 murders?
3 muck ducks.
Don't worry, there's more to come.
He also smokes. That's the worst of it all.
In the car.
In the
Wow.
car,
In
yeah.
the car. I love my favorite part of that actually was when the cop pulled up and Steve was like, "Oh yeah, this is a new car. Can't you tell what the new car smells?" Like, I'm sure you fucking can't with all that cigarette smoke. Fucking filling it up.
Well, back then, it was the new car smell.
Yeah.
Nicotine.
Is this an old lounge from the 1940s? Yeah, this is new. Is that Corinthian leather?
Vintage.
All right, so then inserts Marge and then with
Marge.
that's when we find who Marge is. And Marge is a pregnant cop who wasn't actually pregnant at the time, but she did follow a pregnant cop preparing for this role.
I was gonna say, I was like, I feel like, being a pregnant woman is hard enough to act in itself, but a pregnant cop, like she had to do a lot of bending over and squatting down,
and even she was like, because she had to have like a pillow up in there, like, because obviously she wasn't pregnant.
they didn't have those
she's
big
like,
bellies at the time.
She was like, well, I mean, I don't know.
Apparently she was wearing like a prosthesis as well as like breast enlarged prosthesis to make her look like she was swelling up.
Yeah.
Well.
So like in a previous movie, she just gained weight because she was supposed to already had said kids. But yeah, Frances McDermott putting it all in there. Good job.
She wasn't even intentionally trying to walk like a pregnant person. Just happened because of everything that she had on, kind of thing.
That's so funny.
So she's a cop. She's very smart for a
Minnesotan cop.
Because the other cops were dumb as shit.
Yeah. Or DLR.
I think that was...
must not have finished writing it down. I think that's fucking dealer.
Well, I think it was on purpose, too, because of the fact that, like, they had to... if you notice, it was all the guys. Mm-hmm. They never showed...
any other female cops.
Yeah. And so she was, like, the smart cookie of the bunch.
Which actually is very progressive for that
1996, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where things take a turn for the worst. Dun dun dun.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay.
We're waiting. So then Steve Buscemi, he's like, "Give me more money because now I killed people." I don't think he actually told him he killed people, but he was like, "It's more."
No, he didn't. Yeah,
it's
he
more
just was like,
of a hassle than anything.
Started cursing him out and been like,
"Right,
I need the money now."
And then the dad's like, "Oh, I'll give him the money," because of course he had to go to the dad to get the money. And then
$80,000.
Yeah, it was turned into $80,000. No, it turned into $1 million.
Oh, that's right.
And so the dad was like, "Well, I'm not going to trust you with $1 million. I'm going to do it myself." And then of course Jerry's like, "Don't do that. He's expecting me. He's going to not be happy."
It was explicitly stated, "I go, not you."
Right. And for obvious reasons, because they were trying to pull a fast one on him. But
I feel like Rick and Morty should make their own version of Fargo.
For real.
Because it really just played out like that.
It did.
And so then the father goes, he gets killed. And meanwhile, he did get a shot to Steve Buscemi before. So his face
that was
is
brutal.
bleeding.
Yeah. Broke his jaw.
Yeah. It does beg the question, though. Why not just continue shooting, man? You shot him in the face. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. You had him standing there. What are you doing?
Because he could have, and then he would have been fine. And
And then he would have had all the money and been alive. His daughter might not have been, but she...
Right. But because I think by that time she was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get an off-screen. Something happened.
Right. So then we get... so then he has the money. He takes money out to cheat the guy, his friend. If you remember that. And then he takes the suitcase of money, buries it in the snow, and sticks a ice scraper in it so he knows where to go back and find it. Now, if I'm driving and I see an ice scraper in the snow, guess what I'm going to be doing?
Driving.
Getting my happy ass out and trying to find what's buried there.
No,
just kidding.
No.
It's too
I was
cold.
gonna say, like,
no
what?
way you'd get out in that fucking cold
It's too cold.
to go out
Yeah, I was
there.
like, wait, what?
I'd see it. I'd be like, oh, it's one of those flags.
It's a flag.
It's a flag.
But if you think about
doesn't
it,
move.
now that he's dead, if it ever melts.
See, personally, I would have thought somebody got really
in
pissed
the
off
middle
trying
of
to use an ice
July.
scraper. It's a cheap ice scraper, and they just threw it in the snow because it was worthless.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to scrape off their
Yeah, they
windshield.
won't find that till the middle of July when it finally
Yeah.
melts.
Yeah.
Nice. Somebody's going to be very happy. So then he gets to the cabin. It's where they were like holding the girl or whatever. And so she's dead because she got started like making noise or whatever.
Oh, yeah, but we were given a hint before that he was going to kill her. He just stared at her, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. He was just annoyed that she existed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anywho.
and so then I think around this time is then when they cut to another scene is when we found the Marge sniffing around the dealership because she finally is putting two and two together. Like there was a stolen car. They
called someone. What was his name? At the dealership, who was the mechanic.
Shep or something.
Yeah, they called Shep because he was a part of it.
Yeah,
orchestrated.
Yeah, he was the one who.
Oh yeah, that's when he started beating up Steve Buscemi before the money exchange.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember when he kicked that prostitute's ass?
Yeah. Get out.
Literally kicked her bare booty. Yeah. She's like, no.
Which one of the prostitutes ended up being one of the accent coaches.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Don't know which one because both of them sucked. No, just kidding.
So there's three in all. There's the
Literally.
escort that ends up being at Steve Buscemi's character's place. And then there's the two that were interviewed that they saw before. And I think it's one of the two that they were interviewing.
Yes. Yeah.
So then she's sniffing around the dealership. She just goes and asks Jerry some questions. Jerry's guilty as shit. So
Oh my God, he doesn't know how to keep his.
So he's
cool.
like, oh, she's like, do you have a list of inventory of the cars you have? No, yeah, everything's there. Okay, but is this one still? Yeah, I keep good stuff. And finally, he's like, fine, I'll go take inventory. Yeah, right. He gets
Darn tootin' I will.
Darn tootin', I'll go do that.
That was like the line in the sand for
Yeah. Well,
the darn
what was
tootin'.
very funny was, Marge has been like super polite, as they all are, but like she was like, now listen here. You don't need to strike that tone with me. I'm just doing my job.
Why are you getting so testy?
Why are you acting like that? Well, darn tootin'.
Yeah, so then he hightails it out of there. He gets in his car and leaves. And so then cut back to the cabin where the rest of the shit goes down. That they get fed up with one another, the two thugs, and then Steve does he try to shoot him first, or
No, he's just leaving because he's like, screw that, I'm taking the car. And then,
okay, yeah.
Are we square? And he doesn't bother to like
say anything.
he doesn't
or do
bother
anything.
to answer.
Meanwhile,
because he's like, he never answers.
Meanwhile, he like goes outside. He's getting ready to leave. All of a sudden, in the background, you see the other guy like with the axe, and you're like, okay, he's dead.
Yeah. Pulls a
And he was
shining on him.
Yeah.
He was dead.
I love how he didn't even try. It was just like,
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he's like hurting. Like, I don't know how much pain he's probably in because
Turned
of that.
into a Pez dispenser there at the end.
Right.
And then it was shoved in a chipper.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's where Maggie finds Steve Buscemi feet up while he's trying to shove with a piece of board down into the wood chipper.
Right.
Yep. And then he runs just like the one guy he shot in the back earlier.
But Marge is a good shot, I guess, and shoots him in the leg because, she can't kill him. She's a police officer. He didn't have a weapon on him.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure she was actually trying to kill him, but she was like, all right, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, like, all right, nicked you in the leg.
She would have shot way before he started running.
Yeah.
When she saw him shoving the foot in the wood chipper.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. It's obvious that this person's a danger. I don't know if...
She was so funny, though, with that. Police! And then she points at her hat.
Yeah.
Police.
Obviously. You see that?
Fashion model. No. So then, cut back. Jerry, the police go to this hotel that's registered under an assumed name. It's actually Jerry. Jerry gets arrested. And then, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. So we don't know anything else after that. You can assume that Jerry's in a shitload of trouble.
Well,
there's a lot of people in jail.
What happens to his kid?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I was
biggest
thinking about
thing.
it, too.
Is the kid. Poor
Because,
child.
like,
Mommy's dead.
Mommy's dead. Grandpa's dead.
Daddy's in jail.
Daddy's in jail.
He's an owner of a car
But now he
dealership.
gets inherit his grandfather's everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? All right.
Yeah. Also, I looked it up while you were talking, and it is both Minnesotan and Minnesotian.
Oh,
It is both.
Okay, so we're both right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's odd to have two variations.
Yeah.
That's probably how nice they are, though. That's,
Yeah.
they're
We'll
very-
take
Well,
either.
you can call us whatever.
You can call us one or the other. It's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to us.
It's fine.
Just don't call us Wisconsin.
All
right.
Knee slapper.
So now we are going to move on to screenplay, and we're going to give ratings. And who would like to go first on screenplay?
I gave screenplay a 9 out of 10.
Yes.
It's good. It's
I
solid.
also gave it
Very
a
good.
9 out of 10.
Yeah. Hyper realistic. Even though it was dark comedy.
hyper-realistic. Yeah, very good. I gave it an 8 for the same reasons. Like, very good. I feel like there were a couple of things in there that didn't make sense to me, like Marge meeting up with Mike for whatever reason. Like, that didn't, I feel like, have anything to do with the story. So that was kind of confusing. And then, yeah. There were
Yeah,
some
I think
things.
that was pretty much the confusing part, and that's why I dinged it, because I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was the only imperfect thing. But
Yeah.
it still
It was
kind of
very
gave
funny.
character to it a little bit. Just the fact the guy was just like, I'm so lonely.
She's like, oh, okay.
And then she finds
It's
out.
just-
And then she finds out that what's her name wasn't even dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very confusing. And then that never panned out, though. So it's like, why did that even happen? Okay. Direction?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Wow. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, I gave it a 9.
Yeah.
We're all pretty close.
We're all
Oh,
pretty
one
close.
thing we forgot to mention is that we don't share our ratings or anything until we get to the podcast to record.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the first time we're hearing from any of us talking about it. Even during the movie, we may make comments, but we don't know whether or not
The rating.
Right.
we feel it's good or bad.
Just to keep it original.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So what I mean, my thing is that everything from having accent coaches and line delivery and making sure it sounded natural and great. That's why I gave it a 10 out of 10, because they threw everything behind it to make sure this thing was going to work.
Right.
Right. I just think some of the choices that were made, though, was just a little over the top. Some of it just didn't fit.
I felt like some of it just didn't, like, were just kind of easily overlooked things. Like when, what the heck is his name? Main guy. Jerry walks back into the house. His window is broken. And I feel like the layout of that house, you could see directly straight ahead to the
Well,
window
and I
being
would
broken.
also assume in that degree temperature, you would feel
the
cold.
draft, the cold. And it took him until going to upstairs into the bathroom area to figure out, oh, wife's been taken now. Kind of situation.
Jerry's not that smart though.
No, I mean,
So
I guess. But also, like, I feel like the choice of them having, I don't know, even the choice of them having a child in the first place, what was the point? What did he add
Right.
to the story at all? He was barely there. By the end, you forget about him. Like,
Other than,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I feel like some directional points were. But it didn't, like, subtract much from the story, which is why I gave it a 9. So,
Acting, I gave a 10 out of 10.
same.
10 out of 10. Very,
Phenomenal.
very good. Everybody did their part perfectly. Everybody was a distinctive character. Even with like everybody talking with virtually the same Minnesotan accent, it still felt differentiated enough between the personalities.
Yeah.
It
Right.
didn't seem like it was one dimensional. Everybody's just kind Minnesota people. Which, interestingly enough, when I was looking it up, at the Midwest area, like not just Minnesota, but just that general 3-state, 4-state area, not too happy about this film originally.
Really?
They're like, it's embarrassing. It makes us look bad.
Really?
I think it makes it look, I feel like it made them look like sweet.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, I think that's that part, like that choice to have everyone sound just super polite and super nice, but have on the inside all of these gruesome acts going on.
The
Right.
juxtaposition of like brutal violence and then, hey, how's it going?
Well, hi dear. How
Right,
you
and
doing?
like even sometimes they weren't so nice. Like, okay, fuck you.
Oh yeah, but even when they were like, "Fuck you," it was like, "Clutch my pearls." Oh no, what'd they say? Like, So I don't know.
All right, cinematography.
I gave it a 9.
I gave it a 7. Nothing really over the. I mean, there was nothing like, wow. It was just
There were
to
no
me. It
game
felt
night
very
car
basic.
shots,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
gave it a 6 because it was just so basic. It wasn't like it was just. I mean, things were in focus and stuff like that. Yeah, but it just wasn't any special techniques going on.
Yeah, I felt it was fine. It was just nothing, nothing that's gonna make me give it an award.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
I didn't feel like I don't know, the scenes really needed or, required any type of special shot, which is why I still give it a 9 because I thought they were.
What'd be funny is if you did like reviewed something like a Minnesotan would, where you're trying to say something nice about it, no matter how bad the film is.
Oh, we all.
So it's like, well, I'll give it a 10 out of 10 only because.
Let's not go back to
The
last
little
season
things you
movies
do
then.
in
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you have to force yourself to like
Oh.
it somehow. Like you're like the kid just gave you its drawing and it looks like crap. You're like, how can I give a good review?
Oh, well, I feel like we're pretty good at that. We've got a lot of practice in that area. I
Yeah.
have a lot of crap art on my wall. Love it all, though.
All right, editing. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I feel like it was reasonably paced.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Wow, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Oh.
I thought the pacing was fantastic. It was perfect. Right when I thought it was supposed to start delaying the plane, so to speak, on the screenplay, it was doing it. Things were moving along at a good clip. Nothing seemed to drag on. Besides that one scene where we were talking about with that guy, and it was just like, I'm so lonely. It was funny. But you could
There's a lot
have
of good
cut it for
comedic
time
timing.
if you needed to
Yeah.
right there.
Right.
Because it didn't give you anything. Certain scenes, I hate to do this to the child actor, but if you wanted to cut the kids scenes, pretty much you could have.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm wondering what they did cut. Because most movies do make some types of cuts somewhere. And I'm wondering what did get cut, if those scenes were, left in. I am curious. But
Maybe own it, and then sometimes they have the deleted scenes.
yeah.
Maybe we'll have
Fargo,
we'll
there's
have to buy
3 hours of deleted scenes.
Oh, gee.
All right,
Well-
music is a new category, and I gave it a 10 out of 10 because music seemed to be evenly
Yeah,
placed.
there wasn't. Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
Like-
No, I felt like it was an appropriate. There was a couple of times I noted the songs were dreary or whatever. I felt like you were driving on a highway in freaking North Dakota.
Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it gave you could cut it out completely and wouldn't have changed the thing.
No Hans Zimmer.
It didn't hurt it, but it didn't help it either. It just was there.
Yeah.
With the exception of certain, I guess, regular old songs in the background where they were trying to capture the ambiance of that bar. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's 100% what you would hear at that bar. But beyond that, as far as score, it was just very subdued. And if that was the intention, fine. But it really didn't add anything to it, and it didn't take it away. So, middling score for me. Middling.
all right, special effects.
You okay?
No, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
I gave it a 9. I felt like they were really good. There was one point though, when you're looking where he's Steve
Buscemi?
Yeah. Is putting the new napkin on his thing, and you can see the prosthetic at his ear, and it was I don't know.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Good
I
catch.
didn't notice that either.
I ended up giving it a 10 out of 10 because of how realistic it looked. Someone being shot. The thing I almost dinged it for because I thought it looked really cheesy was I could have sworn at the end Maggie's revolver, you could see it was plugged. It was a dummy gun. It wasn't whatsoever real. And then and when Steve Buscemi was shooting
The
the
guy on the
dad,
ground.
it was obviously
Yeah.
not actually hitting him at all. It was
Right.
just I don't know. It looked like it was. He had to move the gun like this to make it look like it had some sort of
Right.
kick to it.
Back, but there was no bodily movement from the guy getting shot.
Yeah.
Or like anything.
I just thought he was dead at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
I feel like if you shoot a dead person with how close he was to the body, I feel like there would be
clothes
some
would
sort of...
do something. Their
I
blood,
don't know, let's find
something.
out.
Just
No,
something.
Yeah, something.
So
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10, but like thinking about those things, I'm gonna ding it 1 point for 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, but otherwise that was it.
It was very good though.
Yeah.
My overall rating was a 9, and I'm gonna keep. I want to keep it.
I gave it a 9 out of 10. And definitely keep it. It won Academy Awards, Frances McDermott, and she won for Maggie. They also won for Best Screenplay. And it's one of those where you got to at least watch it once.
Yeah.
I would keep it just for the fact that it's just comfort food. It felt good to just watch this fun
Right.
film. And it's something you can throw in the background, and you're going to catch something each
and-
time you watch it, I feel.
And this said that was a true story. That was a baloney lie.
Oh yeah, it's known for that, especially if you watch the Fargo series. It starts out, with
Based on a true story.
yeah, and then it says but everything else is kept true for the victims, but the names are changed for everything else. So it was something fun for that. But otherwise, yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Overall, I gave it a 9 out of 10, and I said I would stream it.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I had any other backlash.
Backlash.
Or not backlash. Sorry, fun facts. I read backlash on my fun facts.
Oh,
Backlash.
The
It's
Minnesota,
like,
the Minnesota year, or
damn.
like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
was said 179 times.
Yeah, that
Oh, yeah?
sounds about right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How many times did she just say it?
Oh yeah. Somebody count, because
Far
I've
less-
also said it a couple
Far
of
less
times
than
during
Cool
the
Cat,
podcast.
though.
I I hate him. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to be doing Hateful Eight, Juliana's pick, Quentin Tarantino's film, for our winner pick. So stick around, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back.
Woo!
Owing drinks.
Oh yeah, I was turning off all my sound, making sure,
Oh.
double sure, triple sure, because I don't need to owe anyone drinks for going off.
Yes.
All right, so we got the Hateful Eight, and guess what I forgot?
You're a binder.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Take it away, guys.
All right.
Good
So
thing it's my pick.
let me tell you a little bit about Nick. No, just kidding.
Spill all the
He
tea.
is a great
Spill the tea.
husband.
Oh,
He really is. I know. You wanted something
I
more.
wanted some steamy tea that was like lukewarm tea. We've not started.
You will be surprised of what we say about you.
Yeah, very surprised.
I'm back.
You should have been like, I'm back.
All right, so
All right.
Okay, so
Hateful Eight.
Hateful
Juliana,
Eight.
your pick for winter films.
yes, very winter because it's set in Wyoming, and I lived there, and it was horrible. So it's pretty accurate, minus the mountains, because it it doesn't have mountains in
This one
Wyoming.
had a considerable, well, I should say a lot less cowboy sex than other Wyoming films.
We talking about Brokeback?
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I knew what you were talking about. Yeah, a lot less.
Everybody knows.
Not none. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not none that we. That's true, because at first I thought he was. Oh, Toby having a reverse sneeze there. All right, so
Toby's our
he is
mascot.
taking.
He's
It's almost like he
doing great
knew that
today.
we're filming for the first time for YouTube and thought, I'm gonna make sure I'm in every single scene.
He wants to be included.
It's funny. It's like
It's perfect. All right, so Hateful Eight is a 2015 rated R Quentin Tarantino film that is Western, action-y themed. Mystery, yes. Fun little mystery. Also directed, obviously, by Tarantino, with actors such as Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And you can find it on Netflix.
Wait, Channing Tatum too.
Surprise! Channing Tatum. What?
yeah.
I actually had to write down a list of all of the actors and their character names to keep track of certain things because there were so many of them. Despite the name, there was not 8. The budget was $44 million and it grossed $161.2.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that again? What was the last one?
161.2.
And it was like the budget was set at
44.
44. Wow. Did good.
So, yeah, it did really good. Obviously, being a Tarantino film, it's going to do well. But it is kind of surprising because the script was actually leaked in pre-production, and Tarantino wasn't even going to make the film originally.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But Samuel L. Jackson convinced him to do it. So, thank goodness. Thank you.
Yes. In an alternate universe, though.
Yeah. It actually, he was thinking about making it a book.
It would work as a book, especially how long it was. Yeah.
With how long and the mystery element of it, I'd actually probably enjoy reading it. But, yeah. Some fun stuff.
I just pictured the slow-mo scenes, how they were going to do that with the book, where it's just weird digital slow motion.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
Slow motion.
Why you believe that, bitch?
That was good. But yeah, so it opens up in some crisp Wyoming, not really, mountains. It's actually mainly filmed in Telluride, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Hence the mountains. Those were some rocky mountains, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, Wyoming isn't like a plain state.
It's very, very barren.
Flat.
Very flat.
Yeah, that's why I was like, mountains. This is very picturesque for Wyoming.
There's like one small section, I think, of Wyoming that has mountains, but trust me, the rest of it is barren.
It's like you have to go up to the border of Wyoming where it's in another state and you look at the mountains.
Yeah. They're pretty close though, because I lived in Cheyenne, which was like half an hour away from the border, like if that, and you could see the mountains driving to the border, but not like in Cheyenne, so I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know where this was, but anyhow.
So this played off like Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Yeah, right away.
So story, like, what do we got here?
My favorite part, the synopsis. So I like how it's split up. It's split up into like chapters, kind of like a book.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was always the case, or if that's something he came up with when he was like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna make a book instead. And then he made it.
Where he just randomly narrated the third one.
Yes.
Right.
He was like, let me
just this one.
Yeah.
This one only.
Just this little part. It was like a little recap in case we missed it.
No other recaps anywhere else, but
nowhere else but that part. And I actually think that had to do with how it was filmed, but I'll get to that when we get there.
Okay.
But it does start out with a stagecoach carrying Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh, which character names were Daisy and John Ruth, the hangman, approaching Samuel L. Jackson's character, who is on foot in a snowy mountain range. They're trying to beat a blizzard, and they have a very interesting dialogue off the bat.
yeah.
And then the interesting thing about this scene was when Samuel L. Jackson takes out a letter from Abraham Lincoln.
From President Abraham Lincoln. Well, because John Ruth and Major Warren, which were Kurt Russell and Samuel L. Jackson's characters, knew each other from something. They shared a steak dinner somewhere.
Yeah, like 8 months prior to the scene.
Right. So they had already known. So
And then he brought up he saved his. Well, I guess he saved his life from picking him up from the snow. I couldn't tell if that was like because of that, or was there something that brought him to that steak dinner?
Right. I don't remember why they were at that dinner together, but they're both bounty hunters. So I assume
maybe it was a bounty hunter dinner.
Yeah.
All the bounty hunters take
At
dinner
awards.
at the
It's
Outback.
a buffet, and it's like how Golden Corral started.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, so John Ruth is currently transporting a very dangerous murderer, Daisy, and I forgot her last name.
Yeah, she's Daisy.
Daisy, which is Jennifer Jason Leigh. And
Apparently, her last name is Bitch for how many times
Oh,
they
yeah.
called her one. It's like, jeez.
yeah, they had some colorful language. Anyone who doesn't know
For sure.
Tarantino needs to be aware
Oh, yeah. Be very, very comfortable.
with all the language.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're watching Hateful Eight and that's your first Tarantino film, what?
Yeah. That's
I
his.
guess, yeah.
That's his 8th one.
Yes, it is.
I only know that because it tells you in the beginning.
Numero ocho.
Numero ocho. Honestly, I don't know what my first Tarantino film was. I think it might have been Kill Bill or Reservoir Dogs.
Mine was The Departed.
The Departed.
Departed.
I've actually never
that
seen
wasn't
that.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh no, I lied.
Well, I've never seen it, so I don't
Just
know.
kidding. That
All
was
I know
Martin
is The Departed.
Scorsese, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Tarantino's gonna come
So you
after
came for the
now.
reviews and the expertise. You will find none. So
Listen,
no.
you can get
From this
reviews.
girl right here, okay?
no,
No.
So, we probably should have done background since it's our first video, but we'll do that, I guess, other time. But
Hey, listen.
no, I mean, Reservoir Dogs was mine, and then Pulp Fiction. I mean, I caught.
Oh no, Pulp Fiction was mine. That was my first, for sure.
Yeah, both are good.
Yeah.
I mean, to
Yeah, I
me,
think
this
mine
felt
was
like it was
Pulp
Reservoir Dogs. He was
Fiction.
pulling from, like, he was kind of pulling from his roots because it all takes place for the most part in a single solitary cabin with no walls.
Right.
And Reservoir Dogs is pretty much the same thing, except
Yeah.
it's a warehouse.
Well, the main inspirations for this movie were The Thing and
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs.
Lots
Oh,
of
well,
parallels
there you go.
to The Thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they even had Kurt Russell on because Kurt Russell was in The Thing. I wonder if you get where it's like, oh, this is what we did.
Yeah. He was like, you know what? This
Yeah.
seems a little familiar.
But so, all right. So it opens up with Samuel L. Jackson's like sitting on 3 bodies.
Right. And then the stagecoach pulls up with Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh, and they have that back and forth. Oh, I know you. I still
Yeah.
don't trust you, but I guess we'll transport you.
Yeah.
Steak dinner.
Yeah, steak dinner?
Grey
All
Poupon.
right. Sure.
For those who know the commercial.
You
Well,
and your
and-
commercials today.
Pardon me,
This, the
do you-
Volkswagen stuff.
Well, it's associative. So you sit there and like, hey, pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? And like, here comes Kurt Russell. Put those pistols over there.
Okay.
If you want some of the spicy mustard, you got to put those pistoleros over there, sir.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Moving on. So
Grey Poupon.
they
All right, those 2 commercials I now have to
continue-
show you.
I know Grey Poupon. I'm just trying to get it.
So you just don't say anything, make me look
I
like
know
Right.
Grey Poupon.
Right.
I don't even know what Grey Poupon is.
Like spicy
spicy
mustard.
mustard.
Oh, is
with
that
some
it?
white wine. It's French mustard.
Wait, are you telling me Kurt Russell did a...
No,
Oh.
it's just a comment.
No, he's
Okay.
just trying to
All right, let's get...
get us off track.
I'm making.
I feel like Kurt Russell did do a commercial.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been in acting since he was a little kid.
Right.
My favorite Kurt Russell movie is Overboard.
It's with Goldie Hawn's where they met.
Yes.
Aw,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Anyway, back to the movie the Hateful Eight.
Spicy mustard scene and action.
All right. It is a spicy mustard.
So
No,
they keep
all
on.
right.
They move on, and then they come to another guy.
All right. Ooh, we fast forwarded. Okay, yeah.
Well,
so,
what more is there to say?
What?
They
well, remember
had a
the
conversation,
Lincoln
they
letter.
got
The
in
Lincoln
that-
letter that pops
we
up
just talked
because the
about the
guy
Lincoln
doesn't
letter.
show up yet.
Letter.
There's the Lincoln letter before that. So like they're going down the path, and then he like socks the girl for spitting on his letter.
Oh yeah.
Because he's all like, what? And then he goes ass over tin cups with, well, Kurt Russell does, outside. And then they finally pick themselves up. And then, oh, hey, there's this guy.
Right.
And the only reason why I find that mysterious is because of what they reveal later on about the Lincoln letter. But yet he seemed so impassioned about how angry he was about
I
that.
feel like he's got to keep up the ruse. You
Yeah,
know, if
that's
he
a-
was just like, oh,
Right.
whatever, then I feel like John Ruth would have been like, really? That's how you're going to fucking
Just-
react to literally a letter by Abraham Lincoln getting spit on?
I mean, damn good acting
Right.
to knock her out of the carriage.
Yeah, well,
Well, she
Sometimes-
deserved it because she was a bitch.
yep.
As
That's
I
her
said.
last
Just got to
name.
punch bitches.
Okay.
That's what my ex always said.
Oh my God. Are you okay? Little domestic violence
That's
jokes.
a joke.
Oh my God.
Anyhow.
I like her and I just like sipping like, what the hell just
You're
happened here? What
and-
revelation did we
and-
just come across?
An ex is gonna call you and be like, "What the fuck?
What are you saying? I know, since I only have one.
What's his first and last name and address? And social network handles? What's his at?
So
Yeah, you hear that,
then-
viewers? Get him. All right, so they find
Walter.
Maddox.
Yeah, played by Walter Goggins.
Yes.
Awesome actor.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, everybody's awesome in this, but
Just watched an episode of Criminal Minds with him in it, like last night. And I was like, hey, I know that guy.
was he the bad guy?
Nope.
No? Oh, okay.
No,
That's
they had to
good.
save him from an exorcism.
What?
okay."
With that accent, I'm just picturing
I haven't watched Criminal Minds in a while, but
Criminal Minds and Walter
my-
Goggins and Exorcism. Never thought I would have those three together.
okay.
Yeah.
So he claims that he's the new sheriff of Red Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
was never confirmed nor denied. So
Right.
he very well could have been. But he was very dramatic.
Yeah. I don't think his character was. I mean, I don't think his character really lied ever.
Yeah. I mean, was he over the top about stuff? Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't think he lied.
Yeah.
I
no.
really do probably think maybe that he was the sheriff.
Yeah. I think that's the case too. I think he really was of Red Rock.
Right. See, I think he survived the longest because, never mind. I was going to be like, he knew when to shut up, but no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
I take it back. But anywho, I mean, pretty much the same dealio of I'm gonna have you put your stuff over there, and then you can chat and whatnot.
Right.
Came up. I don't remember what he said to convince them. Oh no, he basically pulled the future sheriff card. And
Yeah.
like, if you leave me out here to die,
Right.
that's
Oh,
murder.
this murder. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna be hanged. Da da da.
Right. So, they took him with to Minnie's
Hideaway.
haberdashery.
Yeah.
Haberdashery.
Yeah, this
Haberdashery.
haberdashery. I always thought was women's clothing, but I guess it's just a sundries. Like that's a
don't-
trading post it looked like we were at.
Yeah. It looked, because I honestly.
Somehow found
Looked
jelly
like a
beans in the
truck
middle of nowhere.
stop, you know, like
Truck stop.
like an old like what you would do.
I guess that would be
Like
ye
a-
old truck stop.
The old
You know?
Yeah, with the
Ye old
outpost
wagon-
like a
wagon
mile
stop, I
away.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got showers, but they're that way behind the
Showers
mountain.
back in that day.
Well,
We got a hose. Obviously, somewhere to clean up all that blood.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You know, they killed him in the morning and then it was all clean.
Yeah.
In
They were
4
hardworking
hours?
individuals.
Like 4 hours. It took 4 of them to clean.
Yeah, and
All
the
that
only
mess.
thing that they missed was one singular bean. Like candy jelly bean or whatever that was on the floor.
Ew.
Spill your beans.
Peel your beans. Hark!
He indeed spilled the beans.
He did. Let me tell you.
Check out the Lighthouse episode on the podcast.
best
All right.
ones.
Yeah.
Hark.
Hark. You get a lot of quotable quotes.
Yeah. I'm gonna need some
So-
hark juice to keep going.
Then what happened?
Then what happened?
Well, then there was a bunch of talking and a bunch of introductions, and then
Right.
eventually,
And there's like small things that
moving
are
on.
mentioned that I feel like you don't think about until the second act when you realize like the door being broken and you have to nail
Right.
it in. Like you're like, oh, that's just for comedic effect because every time somebody has to kick it down, they have to be like, you gotta kick it.
down.
What?
Now nail it. Nail it.
Kick it
Yeah.
down. And then like I don't know other little things.
Well, yeah, and just the interactions between the old guy and the rest of them, too. Now thinking about it, because like we find out that the old guy was actually a guest there, and he just happened to be his life happened to be spared or whatever. That's why he was so quiet and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of weird that he was spared out of
It was
everybody
weird
else.
that
Like,
everybody
just
else
this
was
guy.
like killed.
I like him. He looks authentic.
Yeah.
Was the excuse.
It'll keep up the ruse.
Authentic? Like, authentic?
Yeah. Who knows?
Paste pecani sauce is authentic? I don't know.
Right.
They probably in all honesty saw him as no threat.
Right. Old man.
But
Who
all the other
cares?
women were threats. Sorry, we're skipping ahead.
Anywho.
So lots of people die in this.
Yeah.
But it takes a while before we see the first one.
Right. It takes, I believe it was like an hour and 40 minutes until we actually see the first
And
killing.
that's actually when it starts to get going.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, no, I have it written down. No on-screen killing for an hour and 35 minutes. So, which is very strange for a Tarantino film.
Yeah, and that's all spurned by the fact that he wanted to goad, Samuel L. Jackson's character wanted to goad him into trying to shoot him by describing how he killed his son
Yeah.
through walking him for 2 hours naked and then having him giving a blowjob to him.
Yep.
Which was like, okay.
And he's like,
All right.
And my black pecker was in his mouth.
Yeah. I always love the old-timey names for a penis.
Yeah.
Pecker. What was the other one?
They used Johnson.
Johnson.
That's the one I'm thinking of. There was like a dingus.
Yeah.
Dingus. Yeah. I didn't know that's what that was, to be honest.
Well, now
I've called
you know.
people a
The more
dingus
you know.
before. And
The more you know.
yeah, that's a bad thing. But this is where we're introduced to pretty much all of the other characters, and I feel like right off the bat, Major Warren, Samuel L. Jackson's character, was definitely suspicious, especially of Senor Bob.
Senor Bob, yeah.
Because he
Because
kept
he
on
lied.
asking me questions, and he's like, "Oh, Minnie doesn't allow hats in the house." Like,
And then apparently she didn't allow Mexicans in the house,
Right. So
and yet
he
he's
knew
running
the
the joint.
entire time.
Yeah, so why did he let that roll?
For so long, probably
Well-
because he had to gather enough.
information because
Evidence?
like he needed to know. I feel like he needed to know whether he was working solo or with others.
Right. I feel like he
Before
had to
he
know
could,
for
like-
sure because I mean it wasn't until after the poisoning that he killed him, right?
Right.
But at that point he knew there was more than one.
Yeah.
Because Bob was playing the piano.
Right.
So he had to be working with someone. So I think he was just trying to play it smart and gather more information before making a move.
That's presuming that someone
Right.
would poison someone and he would know that.
I feel like he knew somebody was going to end up offing somebody
I don't
else.
know.
I mean, Kurt Russell sure did.
Oh
He
yeah.
was like, one of these. And I don't know where he came to that conclusion, but he was immediately and correctly like, someone in here's a fucking traitor.
Right. All three of them were fucking.
Yeah.
right.
Well, he was paranoid the entire time. You're thinking, man, he's super paranoid. It seems to be too much, but really he was of the right
He
amount
was
of paranoid.
spot on, for
Right.
sure.
But he was careless with his paranoia too, and that's where I'm like, I'm gonna ding the script on that one, the story. It's like, yeah, you had to have something happen when you already presented the people were suspicious. So why would you be carefree about your food
Right.
if they're that paranoid? And if the other one knows the answer is no, there's no way this is true. So what's going on? Who else is there? I mean, and the other guy's not. He doesn't shy away from torturing someone for information.
Right. But to be fair, I mean, both of them knew separate information and they didn't
But they
trust each other
never
enough
to
to
give-
communicate said information.
Which is weird because you think they would, since they knew if those two are together, then obviously they can't be with this person, and then that would prove to Kurt Russell's character that guy's, Samuel L. Jackson's character is not together. So that's the thing that was kind of messing me
Right.
up
And
a bit.
I think at one time he did start to trust Samuel L. Jackson a little more when, he gathered all the guns and then he snuck up behind the guy and was like, "Don't fucking do it."
But I think Maddox ruined that later when he revealed the letter to be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it was just
So then he was like betrayed.
betrayal.
Yeah, because what I put down, I was like, complicated situations understood badly with simple understanding. Like,
Yeah, but I think that's the point. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, because Kurt was just like so upset because he really believed it and felt touched by it.
right. Like
That
that was
when-
the first thing basically he asked when he got in the carriage was like, "Ooh, can I
Yeah.
see it again?" Like
Right.
this guy, and he's talking him up. So, Samuel L. Jackson made him look stupid.
But I do like the fact that came up later.
Yeah.
Like, even with it being presumed to be a fake, it was still kind of the idea behind it was important.
Right.
Right. It just wasn't like one and done and then never heard from again like
Yeah.
in some other movies.
Right.
Yeah, and I think his character explains it enough to why he did that. But Kurt was so furious that it was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, when you get burned by somebody, fuck you.
Yeah.
So, all right. So where were we? We got those guys already there. They
mean,
arrive at
there.
the haberdashery.
Haberdashery.
I mean, it was just a bunch of back and forth, you know.
A lot of dialogue, very
A
dialogue
lot
driven.
of dialogue heavy.
But
And
it's
then
good
eventually
dialogue.
the poison comes into play. Like, after the old man got shot because the old man was like, oh, I'm going to grab for the gun. And then Samuel L. Jackson was like, bam, got you, bitch.
Right. And that's when the narration happens, right?
Right.
Because I think I read when I was looking at trivia.
It was like, I think chapter 3 or 4, one of them. And it was like,
started with narration.
So-and-so's secret.
Right. Daisy secret. And I think I read that this was originally split when they did like some sort of road show. So the way that it was filmed, the way that they were showing it, they wanted like specific theaters to show it. And so they did like a road show with it. And when they did that, they had an intermission. And that was the point of intermission. Was right after the
that
general was
explains
shot.
the third chapter.
And then
Okay.
the
Okay.
next
All right.
chapter starting with narration, I suppose.
With the poisoning.
But it is still an interesting decision.
Yeah,
Well,
especially when the narration continues for good, 10 minutes? It feels like
I
10
wouldn't
minutes.
say that long.
No.
5 minutes?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
Maybe, yeah.
But all it really told us was that somebody poisoned the coffee.
Right.
And then you see
And
the
then she's
stagecoach.
the only one who saw it.
Right, and you see the stagecoach drink the coffee.
Right.
And Kurt Russell.
And Kurt Russell drink the coffee. And I liked what Nick pointed out, and I guess we could talk about that during cinematography, but the camera zooming, or not like zooming, but focusing on Daisy, because she's
Back and
singing the
forth.
song. She's
Oh, yeah.
playing guitar and singing the song, and it goes in between her and the people in the background drinking the coffee, because she keeps looking over her shoulder and watching
Yeah,
them.
because she knows.
Yeah,
Right.
that focus puller just
Right.
really
And
good.
you're sitting there
Really
like,
good job.
Don't drink the coffee.
Don't drink the coffee.
But it
And
looked
then-
like an elementary school kid trying to see if they were going to get caught. It was kind of
Right.
funny.
Right.
Well, at one point, it's funny because I think at one point Kurt Russell notices her watching someone drink the coffee or be over by the coffee. And then he gets up and goes and drinks the coffee.
Well, he only drank a few sips of it.
I
too.
know. I had to look up what type of freaking poison would even do that. I forgot what it was.
So your search history now has.
Please tell us.
Oh, no. No, don't worry. It's what kind of poison was used in Hateful Eight. It's a sodium-based anticoagulant.
Lots
know
of
what?
Coumadin.
I
No
don't
wonder
know what
for
that
the
means.
blood.
Yeah.
Well, it's a blood thinner, but I don't know. So that's crazy. Like, I mean, because they poured a ton in that coffee. Like, it was.
Yeah,
a lot.
it was like an entire vial of whatever.
Yeah.
So, and only a couple sips killed Kurt Russell because he didn't drink it all. He tossed most of it over his shoulder when he grabbed the guitar.
Well,
Yeah.
although I feel like he was, he was incapacitated. I don't think he died. What killed him was the gunshot.
Oh, the gunshot. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He was barfing up a lot of freaking insides, a lot of guts,
Yeah.
right into her face.
It felt like it was more merciful at that
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the gunshot was just kind of like
Yeah.
he was
Well,
probably gonna die anyway.
What's the other guy? The
Obi.
Obi.
Obi,
Yeah, he was
stagecoach.
not having a good day.
No. poor
Nobody
dude.
shot him. He just threw it all up until died.
He's
Until
the
he
he's
died.
the
He had, like-
saddest one.
He had like nothing to do with anything.
No, he was
He was
actually a
just
straightforward guy.
Yeah. He had to be the one to go, oh my gosh, that poor scene where he had to go put the guns in the toilet and then
Oh, yeah.
come back and he was like, ah. Oh, no, that wasn't that point. When did he have to go out there?
He did that before.
Right. When did he go out there by himself, though? And he came back in and wrapped himself in the bear rug and sat in front
I think it
of
was the horses,
Uh,
maybe.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
He
It
had to
was
go-
before that because he died after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anywho, the guitar.
Yeah.
So before they died, they're dead.
So who made that guitar? I know it was a piece
It
of history that
was-
went bye-bye, but
I don't know. It was just loaned from the Martin Guitar Museum.
Ooh.
It was an 1870s antique. 6 replicas were made so that Kurt Russell could smash them. But there was some sort of miscommunication because he smashed the real one, as you guys know, which was horrible leading up to it, knowing that.
Seeing Jennifer Jason Leigh going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Like in real, that was just totally
Yeah. Well,
her
wait,
freaking out.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right. Oh. And then like the immediate like defeat on her body afterwards of being like, oh no, like looking off. You could tell she was like looking around the set, being like,
She was the last one to play it.
So that was actually the museum after that had chosen. They made a statement saying they will never loan another guitar out to film.
Which is rightfully so.
Very fair. Very fair.
So the insurance paid how much?
Yeah, I think it was like a 4. I don't remember how
I'm sure
much the
Kurt
guitar
Russell
was.
felt really bad.
I'm
So
sure he
what
did.
was that guitar? What was so special about that specific guitar?
I have no idea. It was an antique from the 1870s.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it, probably. But
Not
still.
replaceable.
No.
But there
Well.
are 6
There's some really good.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't try to give it.
really
They like
good
they give back the
looking
replica and they're
replicas.
like, this one's the one.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, here you go. I wonder how Jennifer Jason Leigh feels knowing she was the last person to ever play that guitar.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, if you can message us. And let us know.
Let us know. How did it feel? And what was the shock thereafter felt when Kurt, when
Yeah.
Mr. Russell smashed it against the pole? Yeah. So, anywho.
All right. So that happened, and poisoning happened, and now it's just chaos.
Now it's chaos because now it's a who's who poisoned the coffee. Obviously, Daisy knows who poisoned the coffee.
And of course, she's not saying anything.
Right, she's not going to say anything.
Is it Folger's crystals? Must be Folger's crystals. They switched it out. That's what made them all throw up.
Oh. Right.
What if I told you, sir, it was Folger's crystals?
Blah.
You son of a bitch! Yeah, that was from an SNL skit. They had like an advertisement. It's my third commercial. They had an
is your third
advertisement about
advertisement.
Folger's crystals, and they were trying to show like how good it was by switching out real coffee. So SNL did a skit about it. Chris Farley goes nuts in the restaurant. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
I love when you reference things that I don't know.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
I at least know that one.
And then we're gonna watch them afterwards. I
Yeah.
just know it.
Folger's crystals, Volkswagen, and Grey Poupon.
Grey Poupon. Right.
All right, so chaos.
So there are 3 deaths. There are 7 people left. Once again, there was the Hateful Eight is very interesting name because there were 10 of them, but
But, you know,
How many of them were hateful?
most of them.
Ah.
I would say everyone except for Obi.
so that was Hateful 9.
Yeah.
All right, so then that's when Samuel L. Jackson starts realizing that somebody else is in on it. The Mexicans in on it, and so he gets shot, and then of course then he's like, but somebody else too, and you know, people get shot. He gets shot, and is Johnson.
In his Johnson
I thought it
by
was balls.
area. In his Johnson
Area.
area. In his
Yeah.
little, what do you call those?
Testicles.
Well, yes.
Which is weird because he's shooting up. And I'm like, the bullet would go through and up and kill you. So I'm kind of like, how did
Unless
you
it
just...
was like angled.
I mean, I thought when they did Channing Tatum, he was kind of aiming up, I thought, like straight up.
Who's to say?
I don't know who's to say, really.
Error.
That is true.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to call
Channing Tatum.
shenanigans.
So then,
But-
of course, they figure out that somebody else is in the house
Right.
underneath the floorboards.
Jody.
They call him the egg breaker. 'Cause
Are
he
they
shoots
the
balls.
eggs?
Yeah, shoots
That's
balls.
okay. So that's what I was looking for.
Huevos.
A nickname for the and Johnson. And then I think after everybody gets shot, we get a flashback.
That's when we got the next chapter that tells us what happens earlier in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, the 4 of them come in and they kill everybody pretty much
Right.
when
Yep.
it all comes down to it,
Like
except
a-
for the old man.
Yeah. Somehow
Why
he gets to live.
Do we even know why?
Maybe
What the motive was?
I have no idea.
They just said he looks authentic, which is
No,
kind
I
of
meant
weird.
like why they just went and killed him anyway. They were gang members. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it killed the
who's to
women.
say?
Well, because they wanted to jump the carriage to save her because that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the gang leader's.
Sister.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was their only motive was to do that, and
I still like that. Hey, dummy! Bang!
Bang.
It goes. There goes his head.
Yeah.
yeah,
And he's like, he was taking too long,
Yeah.
surrendering.
he was
Right.
surrendering.
No, he wasn't. Bang.
So then
He shot me in the junk. Bang.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it wasn't faster than that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, we had to have that nice, sweet moment of, hey, boom.
Hey,
Hey,
dummy!
sister.
Wink! Bang!
Yeah. That was good. That was good. But then anywho,
Poor Gambit.
we got the everyone's dying, bleeding out, and then they decide to hang Daisy, and
they
I'm
end up
fairly
dying
certain-
themselves. So.
Yeah, after reading the Abraham Lincoln letter one more time,
Yeah.
Yep.
And feeling pretty good about it as they all died.
as they all
As
die.
they all
So if
die.
someone comes over there to a like this trading post, they're like, "All right, gonna go out there." Oh my God! There's a hanged woman and so many dead bodies. And then they go over to the stable or wherever they put the other dead bodies. There's more
put them
dead
in-
bodies.
Well, they put them in the well.
Yeah, well, the well, and then they go in there and they see the carriage with other dead bodies stacked on top of it because he was taking those guys to collect the money.
Yeah.
So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many? Man, that's a lot of dead bodies.
A
Yeah.
lot of
Just
dead
all in one
bodies.
little spot.
Right. Yeah. Also, is that why the coffee tasted horribly in the beginning? Because the water they used was the dead body water.
Oh, shit.
Haha. Connection.
Why is everybody drinking the corpse coffee?
Yeah.
Because they were still all drinking it, I thought. Weren't they?
The four
they
that
don't-
were already in there?
Yeah.
Were they, though? I don't think that they were.
The first pot, not the second.
I don't know. I'll have to watch it again. I guess.
Yeah, I don't
Huh.
remember. Anywho.
Well, you got to make a stew. You got to make water with it. So
But she made the stew before.
before, that's right.
Because
yeah.
even somebody made a comment
That
about
that is her stew.
that is her
Ain't no way she
stew.
made it 1 week before.
right.
Right.
Again, why he didn't? I don't know. It just doesn't.
He had to piece it all together, and he did it a little too
can't-
late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like at one point, somebody was like, "Where's your evidence?" And he's like, "I'm looking for it. I'm gathering it."
Right. He was taking his time.
Taking evidence takes time.
It only took everyone dying for him to figure it out.
Wait a second. It was one of you corpses.
Yeah.
One of you better talk right now.
All right. Screenplay. I gave it a 10. I could also give it a 9, but I feel like I was willing to overlook. I don't know. I don't think I cared about the little super minute details enough to dock it. I think it had a fun detective feel to it. The first time watching, I was like, "Oh my god, what the heck is going on?"
Yeah, that's how I felt.
So yeah, I give it a 10.
I gave it an 8 because I feel like in the beginning there was just I kind of got lost, and at one point I was just like, "Oh great, I'm gonna be like on the podcast like this movie sucks and everyone's gonna like it," but then it started to change and get more exciting. I
up.
guess I don't know.
Yeah, the next episode you just would have saw Juliana and I, if that were the case.
No. So I gave it an 8.
I don't like this film. Like, oh, here we go, Dungeons and Dragons all over again.
I didn't get any.
When Juliana and I come back, you'll be hearing about.
Where's Toby?
It's like, yeah, Toby just pops up. Just, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not going to rank anything, so I guess we're good. So I gave it a 9. I docked it for the things I was talking about, but otherwise, I love the dialogue.
Dialogue is so good.
Yeah, it seems fitting for the characters. Yes, it's not normal or natural by any stretch, but for the characters and the universe that it's in, it's
Right.
amazing.
It
So
kinda-
I like it. I like it a lot.
And I feel like it's very Tarantino. You can
Yeah.
tell from the dialogue that Tarantino wrote it, and I think there's something special about that for a writer to have their own kind of tell in the script.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the narration.
Yeah. I mean, the dialogue is just so very, Tarantino-esque.
All right. Direction.
Oh, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
I gave it a 10.
Yeah, it was really good.
I gave it a 9. I think that's kind of where I was more nitpicky, if anything. Like the narration portion of it, I was like, okay. Or just some of the choices made. I was like,
I kind of feel like, yes, the narration was kind of weird, but I kind of felt like we needed that because then...
You needed that because of what you were talking about with the...
Yeah. I think I needed that.
I don't know, because I feel like while that was going on, if they had done a shot of somebody poisoning the coffee, it would have had the exact same effect.
Well, yeah, I mean you would have known, but
else.
you're to the credit of the fact that it was supposed to be intermission,
right?
Now it makes 100%, like it makes 100% now, which is why I was like, okay, direction is going to be 10 out of 10. That's fine,
right?
But without that explanation, I would have been like, this does this, okay, I guess we're doing that, and so it would have been docked maybe 9, 8, depending on where I'm at. But again, you can't get this kind of dialogue without direction, so. At worst, I would have gave it a 9.
Yeah. Yeah, 9. Acting?
10.
10.
All the way. The
10.
characters were defined. It was played right. They seemed like individuals within...
And they played the period piece well, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I always love how many different accents they've got in a Tarantino film. Like, this one is specifically. You've got so many. I like the subtlety of the British accent changing. Did you guys catch that? Like, he was very posh British at the beginning, and then it changed to a Cockney accent once you realize, like, when
Cockney accident.
Cockney accident. Words.
Tim Roth, you train wreck.
Tim Roth. He, like, changed his accent to Cockney when he was, like, being himself and not the posh British, which I thought was very interesting and very subtle, and I'm not necessarily sure why, because I don't think anybody would have questioned a Cockney British man.
I would say
posh.
Because people would have treated him like more like, oh, hey, you might be unsavory. While if you notice, like, was it Bob or whatever?
Yeah.
He was trying to like not talk as much as possible, just because I feel like he just looked nefarious and sounded nefarious. Tim Roth is like, oh, if I'm like chip chip cheerio, no one's gonna question.
Chip chip cheerio.
I'm just really nice guy, but the whole time he had this tinge of sinister nature to him.
Right.
Yeah, he belonged in
But
Fargo
was a
for sure.
hangman. No, that's not it.
Yeah, that was
And that also brings me to a fun little character fun fact that Tim Roth's real character name is Pete Hickox, I think. I don't know why I'm saying that like that. Okay. Which would Tarantino confirmed, which would make him the great-great-grandfather of Archie Hickox, which is Michael Fassbender's character in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh.
Yep. There's a lot of crossover, because there's also a line. I forgot who said it, but there's also a line somewhere in the film that is Inglourious Bastards, like, tagline. Something bastard. I forgot what it was. But there is, like, that tagline also in there. They reference the movie a couple of times.
All right, cinematography.
10.
8.
Okay.
I loved everything except for it was lit like a stage play inside the cabin. So you had white light in a lot of places where there's no white light. Like, it didn't have any origin. It was just there. So it felt like, now stylistically it was fine, but it was just so weird that everything else was lit in a natural way, but interiors were not. They were all very artificially lit with all this bright white light. Even when they put down a candle, they're like, oh yeah, let's light up this place. They put a candle down on a barrel that has a ginormous bright white light on it. And I'm just like, man, I get why you did it, but at the same token, I'm like, it would have been kind of cool to see more, just eerie, more intimate, and where it felt a little bit more unsafe because things were darker in there. Right. And you have a blizzard and you're just kind of huddled up next to the light you got, which would make more sense with why they were huddled around that barrel. Just a couple of things.
I feel like it definitely did give that vibe, because I was even thinking, I was like, this could be a really good like a box stage play, like just the inside portion would make such a great box stage play, because it was all one location.
Right. One. pretty
Imagine if
much
it was a
room.
musical.
One. A musical?
Yeah. I've just pictured Samuel L. Jackson. Have the lyrics written by.
And you,
Johnson
and you would
scene?
not watch it.
Yeah.
No, I think I would watch this one. I would watch that one.
Sure.
I watched other musicals.
I know.
You know, Blues Brothers and stuff.
Right.
All right. Editing.
I gave it a 9. That's kind of where I docked the lights and also like the slow motion talking.
Oh gosh, it was so bad.
Like,
Yeah, I gave
It was all
why?
choppy.
Why
And
did we do that?
I gave it an 8. Plus, it was slow to get started, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wrote pacing down too. I probably should have made it an 8. I think it was originally an 8, and then I went it back up. I don't know why.
I gave it an 8 for the pacing issue and also some of the weird choices for the, like you said, the slow motion voice, which is very digital sounding.
Yeah.
Not sure why they did that for the style choice. Still don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't
Who's
know
to
why.
say? Didn't find it in the fun packs, so. Anywho.
All right. Music.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
10 Ennio Morricone. So good.
I gave it 10 out of 10.
Yep.
I couldn't even, like, you know how sometimes you watch a movie and the music just doesn't sync up and that's the only thing that you can really think about? Well, this one, like, I know there was music, but I can't remember it too much. So I know that it kind of seemed effortlessly in there.
Yeah, he's a painter with music, and I love it. And it's
Yeah.
so good. And he's done the spaghetti westerns of past, and
The
it is
Thing.
phenomenal. He was supposed to do Django Unchained. He wasn't available at the time, so he had to source music instead from Ennio. And then now with this one, he was actually able to get him to write the score, which he ended up sourcing from The Thing. Now, The Thing, you said he did The Thing too? The
Yeah.
score?
Ennio.
And Morricone?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I thought John Carpenter did the music for that one, but he only did the theme?
I don't.
That's crazy. That's cool. I mean, because I noticed some of the synth pop in later in the movie, and I was like, oh.
Right.
And when you mentioned that, like, oh, yeah, he did the thing, I was like, oh, okay. Now that makes sense all of a sudden why the synth is there.
Yeah.
Especially
Well,
when they run that line. That's when it pops in. It's when they're running the line to the outhouse, which is very the thing.
Yep. And like I said, some of his actual compositions for The Thing that were unused in The Thing were used for this film.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love that fact. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So,
All right. Special effects.
10.
10.
The
I
blood
said,
and the way it's splattered, and especially with the combination of the sound
Yeah.
editing that was given to that, where you have that
Gruesome.
splatter sound.
I
It was over the top with certain things, like 2 bullets to the head don't make
explode your head. Yeah. That's why I gave it a 9. I docked it down for that because I was like,
I gave it a stylistic choice because he's done that before in other stuff. Like in Django
Right.
Unchained, they were spurting out like it was Kill Bill, and so I'm like, it's stylistic choice. That's fine.
Yeah, he enjoys that. But I was like, overall,
I give it a 9. It's more like a 9.5, but a 9.
yeah, and you would
Oh, yeah, I would keep it.
nice.
But if you're not a Tarantino fan, I probably wouldn't watch it at all.
Oh.
But I am. So.
I said 10 out of 10 and keep it.
I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's not his best, but it's really, I would say, top 5.
It's one of my personal
Yeah.
favorites, I think, of his.
Yeah, very, very good. If you're Tarantino, you're keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm a Tarantino fan, even though I judge certain things harshly, just because stylistically, I would change things a little bit. But overall, I think it's great. I think it did everything it was supposed to do. It's memorable. It's something you want to return to, and it's great for those cold winter
And you
days
really
and nights.
do feel like you're in the cold, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a perfect winter movie. You're like, I could feel the chill of the snow wafting through the
Yes.
boards of that house. And I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't miss the Wyoming wind.
Yeah, that constant Wyoming wind
Yeah.
really blows in Wyoming.
But
All right.
love it.
When we come back.
When we come back, last film, my pick, Wonder Boys, starring Michael Douglas, and it also features Tobey Maguire and Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
So
fun.
stick around, and we'll give you our review. All right, and we're back, and we got Wonder Boys.
Yeah, Wonder Boys.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, I'm not
Woof,
sure
woof.
What?
Sure,
Because
okay.
of the dog.
Oh no, no.
A lot of the
the
things
sad
that
part.
like the catchphrases and stuff, like not anyone's gonna know unless they listen to the first season.
As they should have.
Yeah,
Right.
they should have.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And
Am
if
I
you
not going
don't-
to carry Hark over to the new season? Of course.
And have you
Didn't
not?
say not to bring it over, but I was explaining where it's coming from.
They
So,
should know.
They should know.
So it didn't happen through osmosis when they go to pull up this episode and they go, "Where's this from? I don't know why they're saying these things." And I go, "This is why they're saying them." Should we not say them then? No, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. I said, this is where they're from.
We were getting so defensive. We were like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Perhaps a couple more therapy sessions for both of you to work out whatever shit you got going on so you can handle me explaining to the audience where the catchphrases come from.
We
Just
don't
a little
need you
bit.
mansplaining shit.
Ugh. Anyways.
But maybe the audience needs him to mansplain it to them.
Mm.
Why don't you
Why don't
comment?
you woman-splain it, Nick?
Why don't
This
you
is
comment
why-
on her?
This
It
is why
does.
I like Wonder Boys, because he's run down.
Because it's all
has
boys,
bad luck.
huh? They're all men.
Actually, it comes from
Except for, like, two
well, it
of
comes
them.
from Wunderkind, the German phrase that talks about like the Wunderkind that produces their art or it reaches a professional peak so soon in their career, and that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, like Wonder Boys is 2000 is when it came out. I can't quite figure out when exactly Robert Downey Jr. got out of jail, but
Okay.
he was definitely around that time still working through a lot of stuff.
Let me tell you what I deep dived and found.
Sure.
All right. So, and granted, this is on Wikipedia, but it specifically referenced this movie.
Yeah.
So it said in 1999, after being clean during the shooting of Wonder Boys, Downey relapsed. So I'm wondering if this film was, like I was thinking, a trigger for his relapse right afterwards.
Yeah, because this film is not it's not about mental stability.
Right.
Right.
The reason why I like this film so much is because it's about being in the purgatory of not all the way rock bottom, certainly not at your top. You're just kind of floating in between. You're holding it together enough to where society isn't worried.
Right. Well, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Crabtree, was pretty much on drugs, or
Right.
he wasn't sober like the entire movie.
Correct.
So,
Well, especially if you look at James Lear, who went in as a character played by Tobey Maguire, went in as apparently like straight edge and then not so much at the end.
right.
Right.
I don't know if you guys caught this drift, but I felt there were a lot of similarities between James Lear and Charlie from Perks of Being a Wallflower.
I was kind of thinking when I was watching this, I was like, that seems like Charlie.
Right, because I mean, I feel like Charlie was the same way. It was kind of, again, a wallflower, but also didn't really do any of that stuff, and then just kind of dove head first
Yeah.
into it.
Well, and the thing is that and they're both set in Pittsburgh. Perks,
Yeah.
Perks for
Isn't
being
that
a
weird?
fool.
Ooh.
It's an acquired taste, Pittsburgh. But I love the city, and I really appreciated the main character played by Michael Douglas, Grady Tripp. And so let me go down the regular, what it like what
Yes,
it's about and all that good
yes,
stuff.
yes.
So the movie rating was R. It's not a hard R by any stretch of the imagination. It's really R only because of a few language points.
And maybe drugs? Does drugs get the R?
I don't know anymore, because it wasn't considered really hard drug use. It was just little weed here and there.
Well,
marijuana.
I mean, like when it said like the rating for R, it was like drug use was one of them.
Oh, was it? So it
Yeah.
must have been.
Well,
they
back
also
then,
took
probably,
those
that's why.
pills at one point, which I don't remember if
Well,
they
and
said
then
what
the
that
smoking
was.
of the weed. But...
Yeah.
I think it was Valium. That's
I
what it
mean,
was.
back in 2000.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, back in 2000, it was like it wasn't legal anywhere. So.
Well, he said he got it from his doctor, so maybe that was on the very
Medical?
Yeah, he said it was medical, and I think that was like the very, very, very bleeding edge.
Start of the medical marijuana movement.
Yeah. So,
I mean, giving it to his students. I mean, I'm sure.
I mean, what a rockin' professor, am I right?
so the genre I like. I kind of wrote
Did
this
we
down.
say the movie year?
Yeah.
2000.
Oh,
Yeah, we
did.
did. So the genre is, I really like this from IMDb. Screwball comedy is what they labeled it as.
Yeah. It's definitely a dramedy.
And drama, yeah. So it was written by Michael Chambon and Steve Cloves.
Siobhan.
Or Siobhan. Sorry about that. There's always one.
I don't know.
If you've
I
heard our
lost
past
count.
episodes. Directed by Curtis Hanson. And actors, which we mentioned already, a few of them. But Michael Douglas, Tobey Maguire, Frances McDormand. Katie Holmes. Alan Tudyk as the janitor.
And
Robert
Rob-
Downey Jr. as the
Rob
editor.
McClaney or Malachi. What? Rob something or other.
From
Oh, Rob. Well, he was an extra.
he was
Yeah.
like
At the very
he was
end.
But
briefly
still.
in
Yeah.
there.
But still, he was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there. And then
His little
the guy
baby
who
face.
plays Zed in Men in Black, I forget his name. But anyways, he was in there as well. So there's a lot of big names in this, and this is our second Frances McDormand.
Yeah.
And
Here's
Of the
our
night.
theme for today. Not
Yeah.
winter. It was Frances McDormand.
I forgot to check to see if you could find it streaming anywhere. I think it was Pluto. You could find
Pluto,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's streaming on Pluto. Most of the time, you don't find this thing streaming at all. When it came out, the budget, believe it or not, for this thing, you would think it wouldn't be that big, but it was $55 million.
It's probably because all the practical things going on.
Like what?
All the paper that
All
they
the
had
real
to use.
weed they had to buy.
Yeah. there you
All
go.
the weed and
The
all
weed
those
budget.
papers, you know.
Yeah, all the amount of times
typewriter.
they had to shoot because they were all so high.
Well,
What was like 2,000
It was all the
pages?
dead dog.
so the
don't
funny
wanna
thing
say
is
that
that the all the shooting locations were in Pittsburgh, right? So all the shooting locations were in Pittsburgh. They filmed it in sequence. So
Oh,
that
really?
was yeah,
Oh,
everything
that
was in
rarely
sequence.
happens.
And
That doesn't make any sense.
why not?
I mean, why waste your money?
What do you mean?
Like going to multiple sets?
Oh, you mean for Pittsburgh, you just shoot it all in there?
Yeah, like why wouldn't
Yeah.
you just film all of the scenes
Yeah,
at
who
the same
knows?
place at the same time
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
around the same time?
I thought you meant why film it in sequence. I was like, it seemed to be the easiest solution at
Yeah.
the time. So this film is about a college writing professor, creative writing professor, who he himself is an actual writer, and he works for the University of Pittsburgh. Although I don't know if it's explicitly said, but all the locations, it's University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And so he is having an affair with his boss's wife. And
She's
are
pregnant too.
Yeah, and she's
with
pregnant.
his baby.
You are introduced to a crazy weekend, and I love this tagline. It says, "A weekend from hell became the time of his life." And so, this guy has a lot of bad luck, and what happens is you're opened up to the fact that his wife left him, his younger wife.
Right. Deservedly so? Question mark.
Right, because he's diddling the.
Diddly. He's given his Johnson to his boss's wife.
Oh, great! Now I see Samuel L. Jackson again. So so basically he is trying to write this book. He's published once and it was very successful. He's trying to rekindle the whatever was going on, that creative energy, and the editor's coming down to see him. So he picks up the editor at the airport. They're going to be going to a college party that's held by his boss at his house. So there's a lot of subtle tension between the Frances McDormand's character and Michael Douglas's character. And what ends up happening is you find out all these things very quickly in a natural way. It's not ham-fisted given to you. And there is narration by Michael Douglas, but it's introduced naturally throughout the film of what's happening. And then you have over in his creative writing class, Tobey Maguire, who is James Lear. He plays the character James Lear, who is, we found out, playing an autistic character without explicitly saying it.
Right.
And you see the signs of it based upon the behaviors, but he is a phenom writer, just amazing writer.
And he's a killer.
He's not a kid.
Well,
He thought he was doing self-defense, which we'll get to in a second.
listen, if you shoot a guy and you think you're doing self-defense, you're still a killer.
Right.
Okay. Well, in
So,
the
is she
in the
wrong?
tone that she was giving it, it was
Well,
more like
if
murder.
He is
Well,
a
it was
murderer.
murder.
See? Okay. So we established your tone.
Muck-duck.
In meeting. So anyways, so
Hey, John Wick would agree with me.
Yeah, John Wick would agree with you.
well, that was a puppy and it wasn't attacking anybody, and this is a big dog who's blind who was attacking Grady Tripp. So I mean,
But it's still killing your dog.
yeah. So anyways, they go to the party eventually. You find out that his classmates during the class weren't that great. So anyway, and then he gets to the party. Once at the party, you get introduced to the fact that there's that pregnancy. He's having an affair with his boss's wife.
Which is why the dog doesn't like him.
Which is why the dog doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Dog knows.
And I forgot to write down the actor's name, but Antonia is the fly-by-night date that Robert Downey Jr. brings. Yeah.
Yes.
Tony.
Yeah, and then it's Tony without the wig on, and Antonia when she
Right.
does. So
Right.
it's very interesting. A lot of eclectic characters that are fleshed out in a reasonable level fairly quickly without it seeming forced. I really appreciate it. But
Yeah.
so at the party, what ends up happening is things start to die down, and he wants to show Tobey Maguire's character something very special. And so they go to the bedroom and they open up this kind of safe that has a combination. The combination is kind of a nod to Joe DiMaggio, but it's Marilyn Monroe's jacket that she wore on her wedding day. So during that time, he sees it, and
This is at the Chancellor's house, right?
yeah, the Chancellor's house, still the same party at the end of it, and he gets emotional about it. And Michael Douglas's character is kind of like, okay, this is a little weird. And he tries to explain, well, she seems so lonely, blah blah blah. Earlier on in the party, he was able to rattle off a bunch of suicides that actually came from a book, Babylon 2, by the way. And it pissed off one of the families of specifically Alan Ladd's. So they had to edit it in future iterations because of that. The family was all upset because they mentioned his suicide. And it's kind of like famous figure, suicide. I don't know. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is.
What it is, right?
Yeah. And he
But
was
I
just
mean,
rattling it off.
that's also why originally I was like, oh, does, Tobey Maguire's character have autism? Like why the question came up because just the social
Right.
awkwardness, the fact that his peers don't understand him enough to like not like him, and then the fact that he was able to just spitfire memorize he has that fixation on
Suicides.
Hollywood and famous suicides specifically. Like,
But not because he's suicidal, just because he is focused on the darker side of life.
Although
Right.
Michael Douglas'
He's a bit
characters was like, oh shit, this kid is suicidal.
right. I mean, at first there was definitely that thought in my head. I was like, we should be watching this child. There should be a, like, I don't know. I think that's why the professor, in my head, why I thought the professor was, like, taking him under wing. Because
Right.
every time he showed up, I was like, oh my God, this poor child is going to, like, off himself. Please, somebody help him. I was like,
Right.
what's happening?
Yeah, and I think that red herring was done on
purpose?
so that way you kind of had the wrong idea, and then you find out, no, he's
Just
different.
writing. Yeah.
yeah. So what ends up happening is he walks out of the bedroom, and then the dog confronts Michael Douglas's character, in which case then attacks his leg, and instead of James Lear, again Tobey Maguire, figuring out that, hey, let me just pull the dog off or do anything else, he had a pocket pistol on him and shot the dog
Yeah.
and killed the dog. And Michael Douglas is like, why did you shoot the dog? You could have done anything else.
Trying to protect you.
Yeah, he was freaking out. And he's like, James,
Wick
don't freak
shows
out.
up.
James Wick.
John Wick? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I meant James Wick.
James Wick.
Because it's
his son.
yeah.
So this.
Okay, no, just kidding. It's not
James
true.
Wick.
No, yeah.
He's more specific.
Yeah, it's a bigger dog. That's why.
What?
John Wick puppies. James Wick bigger dogs.
James Wick.
Don't steal my
Full-grown
idea.
dog. Full-grown blind dog.
I have no idea where we are anymore.
We're on
I'm
James.
still in the first 15 minutes of the film to do the synopsis.
Now you know
So
how we feel.
the
Now we know.
dude, I interrupted you with a commercial idea, and then we
Yeah.
went forward. This has been an interrupted at the movie part, at the title, at the did you say the year? Because I didn't hear it. At the hey, there's actors at the
Okay,
beginning,
let's go back.
at the middle of the beginning,
Let's
at
go
this
back
the end
to
of the beginning.
hours.
Yeah.
Let's go back to hours because it took a long time for us to.
Oh please,
But go ahead. I won't
Anyways.
talk about James Wick
Your
anymore.
turn.
Jesus. Review the tape, and we'll see how much did the interrupt on my
Yeah.
side happen
Yeah.
versus your
We'll
two.
do a counter.
Yeah, please do. Get that golf clicker right out right now.
Bet.
So you're 41. Why are you saying bet?
Bet. You know what? I do want to point out this conversation has been had a couple of times about how many times we interrupt Sam when she's trying to talk about
That's
the
true.
plot of a film, and we're over here discussing hot dogs. So I think she's in her right to to interrupt you every now and then.
Yeah.
There you go. You're welcome.
What?
All right. They shot the dog.
Yeah, so they took the dog out, and he's limping along. They put him in the trunk, and so the next thing that happens is basically trying to figure out what to do with James because he's freaked out. So he goes ahead and pilfers their medicine cabinet, and then he gives them some pills, which ends up being Valium.
Yeah.
Somehow, through all of this and Michael Douglas smoking more weed, he ends up going to the bar to meet up with the editor. Yeah, played by Robert Downey Jr. And once he gets to the bar, they're thinking that Tobey Maguire he's passed out. He's not doing anything.
Right. He zonked.
Yeah.
So they start talking about him.
Well, that and the fact that they do this creative kind of writing exercise where they start developing stories based on interesting looking people. And this one introducing this guy with like really tall hair that kind of looks like James Brown. So they start making these things up about like, oh, he must be like the James Brown president lookalike, whatever. And then they start saying, well, no, he's going to be, he was a jockey. He did this and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden, Tobey Maguire just chimes in with something that is just brilliant story writing.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like people watching to the max.
Yeah.
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 And then he just inputs the best
I was
part
very
of the
jealous
story.
of it too.
yeah.
Because I people watch and talk and like make up stories, but not as
Yeah,
good.
but
as
never that. It's like, well, damn, he is a good writer,
that.
good storyteller at heart.
Good storyteller.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they were like, wow, he's really good. And well, Crabtree does, but then Michael Douglas's character is like, yeah, but he heard everything we just said about his book, which he was kind of downing it because he was actually more pissed that it was so good, not that it was actually bad.
Right. Like, did he even actually read it though? At that point, I don't think he had even read it yet.
Well, no, but he had him in his class, and he was kind of reciting some things that maybe not from the book, or maybe was from the book. I'm not quite
I think
sure.
he was just jealous.
I think he was
Yeah.
jealous that he was able to produce a book in such short time. I don't even think he read it yet when he was making those comments, because then we see him actually read it later, and he was like,
Right.
fuck, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So here's the thing, because I was also cooking while I was trying to pay attention to the rest of this, and we also have another character played by Katie Holmes, and with Katie Holmes is like got the hots for him, and he constantly has to tell her like, no, I'm good. Actually, she tries to dance with him at the bar.
Right.
And then they're introduced to another character that's where it happens after the bar. He gets chased down by the same guy they call the jockey, and he ends up being thinking that like, this is my car.
Right.
You stole my car, and he's like, what are you talking about? No. And he
Right.
said early on in the film that he got the car from this guy, and now we're kind of thinking maybe it was stolen.
Yeah. It had to
Yeah.
have been, right? By
Yeah.
the end of it.
Yeah, because then he stole it back.
Right.
Right.
Which
And
is
it's like a
weird.
Ford 500 Galaxy.
Right.
Yeah, old car with a lot of trunk space because the dog's been in there the whole entire time,
Oh,
along
dead
with
dog.
luggage and
The
all this
dead
other
dog.
stuff.
Gasoline.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Luckily, it was very cold, hence winter film.
Yeah.
So they go through. He goes back to the. Oh, yeah, and then was it Uma or
Ula.
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 Yeah, and you find out later that Ula is actually with the jockey guy that he
Yes.
calls Vernon, but he's like, quit calling me Vernon at one point.
I don't think we
It's-
ever know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all in the car going away, but here's the thing: what we find out is when the guy says, "You stole my car," he jumps in front of me. They're like, "What is this guy doing? I don't understand. I don't get it." Blah blah blah.
He
You try to
sits
drive
on their
around. He
hood.
goes the wrong way, which is really easy to do in Pittsburgh. Wrong way on a one-way street. Turns back around to get off the one way, only to get into a dead end to turn around, and the guy sits on the car to dent the hood. So eventually finds his way back to his house, which I think was Squirrel Hill the way it looked. Goes back to his house, goes to his place, and you start to see what he's like developing, like his manuscript.
2,611 page book.
Yeah. And there is
Holy smokes.
you're thinking that he has writer's block, but you find out that it
No.
wasn't writer's block. It's that he can't
the
end
opposite.
it. He doesn't know how to end the story.
Right.
He doesn't know how to stop.
So he's just
Because
aimless.
that's a ridiculous amount of pages.
Yeah.
Right. And is this where Katie Holmes gives her critique?
No, that's
no,
not
I
until
don't
like
think so.
almost
I
towards
think
the
that
end.
is later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she reads it later and falls asleep on it. No joke. It's 2,611 pages. It fits in like 3 giant ass boxes. So
Right. All
yeah.
typed on a typewriter.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Anywho.
So we're okay.
I
So
think that's when the police start to.
that's the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time the police comes
Because
by.
of the jacket, the
Because
Marilyn Monroe jacket.
I had a question. Maybe you know because you looked at the trivia questions. Did the freaking police car mean to put it in neutral before he got out, and then the car kept rolling? Was that purposeful?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
feel
see
like it
anything about
wasn't.
it.
I feel like
Yeah,
it was
'cause-
not because why would they do that? You know, there was no establishment that the policeman was a fucking idiot. So why?
Exactly.
Why would they have his car start rolling with him out of it unless it was just by accident and they just kept it in?
Yeah. No, I have no idea.
I tried
didn't-
to look it up, but
I didn't see anything in
It didn't come
the trivia about it. So
interesting.
so trying to think.
He stayed the night.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
where
right.
We
He
find
stayed
out
the
that
night.
He stole the Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe.
Right.
Jacket.
Jacket because of the backpack.
Yeah.
Right. And then because he sees the fur poking out of it,
Right.
and then he's like, "Oh, geez, James, da da da." He's got this pocket gun that's not really a pocket gun because he said it was fake, but it really wasn't
But
fake.
it's not fake.
And then he has he stole the Marilyn Monroe jacket, and then he's hanging out with them because he says, "Oh, you can't do it." Meanwhile, Crabtree is trying to get with him because he's like, "Ooh, you're interesting,"
Yes.
Right.
And
which
I
is
think
why he
that-
kind of shoved Antonia out of the way.
Right.
And there's a lot of like circumstance, like you could see this was written on a sense of because this happened, then the next thing happened, and because this happened, then that happened. So it's
Right.
kind of a domino fall. But what's interesting about the film is that if you noticed while they're going throughout the story, and we're getting towards like almost to the middle, everywhere there's somewhere, whether there be a billboard or something on the side of a building or something, there's a bridge. And the reason why they chose Pittsburgh is because there's bridges everywhere. So anytime you're filming these guys that are having to make these pivotal, life-changing decisions, there's a bridge somewhere.
Ooh,
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So, like, even when they're in the car and he's about to make that huge decision where he's like, I'm going to call her, there's a bridge
Right there.
in the background of the, like, as they're driving. So, what you find out eventually is that the guy, Frances McDermott's character, she is basically giving him an ultimatum like, look, I don't truly believe that you're gonna leave her for me. She always comes back. And he's trying to say, no, she doesn't just leave, but she doesn't believe it's his decision. And therefore, why would I leave my husband for you? You're just doing it because either A, she's going to come back, or B, you're doing it because you happen to leave.
Well, and she and somebody else was always like, oh, Emily's going to come back. Emily's
Right.
going to come back.
Did we even ever see Emily in the flesh? No.
We did not.
No.
Not once.
The only time we saw her is that one photo.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at her place with her parents.
Right. Her
she still
own
has her
house where
room.
where he broke into her house.
Right. And broke up, what is it? Breaking and entering.
Breaking and
Yeah.
entering.
He had,
and then stealing their alcohol, smoking weed on their couch. And then
That's-
they still were like, yeah, we'll make you some like tea and stuff.
Obviously, there was a deep
Fix your
understanding
cut.
between the family and him.
Weird.
And a lot of older parents, very, very older parents. Very, very older parents.
Or was it that like time and generation where they were like 30-year-olds? These are 30-year-olds, but they looked like fucking
No,
70.
they definitely weren't 30-year-olds.
Right.
Yeah, no, this is 2000.
There was a
That
point in media in which that was the case, though. They tried to pass off like 67-year-olds. It's like 30-year-olds.
Well, if you think about it, though, like if I would have a kid now, in 20 years, I'd be 61.
Yeah, I suppose so then. So and I don't know, they never really gave her the age, like how old she is. Because I don't think she was in her 20s. I think she was in her 30s, it looked like. Like late 20s, early 30s in that photo.
I don't know.
You know,
I
younger,
didn't think
obviously.
so.
But
Definitely
not,
But he
not
was,
30s.
but
I don't
he
think
was
30s.
also younger in that one too. So
yeah, well,
who's
yeah.
to say?
I don't know. So let's see, where are we at? We're at the parents' place, I guess, at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then next is that we learn about about
Like the
what's
truth, right?
Lear's parents.
Right. Like that he lied
Yeah.
about everything, basically.
Oh yeah, the diner.
Yeah,
He gets
yeah.
suspicions, and you kind of get a nod to the audience when he smirks going into the diner.
Mm-hmm.
So he makes a phone call, and he makes a phone call based upon a receipt he sees of
Right.
a library. And well, first he calls to figure out where this town is. Town doesn't exist. Then he figures out that he makes things up all the time that are very creative and realistic. This is why.
Story writer.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a writer.
Because
and
he's locked down in his basement.
Yeah, he's locked in his basement that I would legit kill to have right now.
Oh, it was a really nice
Yeah,
place.
It was so
Really
good.
nice basement. But the way that he was spinning in it was like a Harry Potter situation where
Right,
it's
where
like,
he's like under the cupboard.
You're right.
Oh, poor
Chained
guy.
to the wall.
Right. They have him in chains in there. Poor dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Bite me.
Yeah,
I
he
would-
basically lied all about his stuff. Like
Yeah.
everything. He's treated well. He's from an affluent family.
I think he's just acting that way to, place himself in the story to get a better idea of
Well, like
how
he
it
placed
feels.
himself in the story with the professor, and within that story, he was able to have friends now and a relationship with another person.
Right. But also, like, he was able to glean something from the professor that was just very profound and deep. That even, like, the professor himself was like, oh, well, shit. That's pretty accurate. That hurts.
Yeah, because he was
Oh, did you
typing on his
twist the knife?
typewriter in the basement, and his editor started reading it, and it ended up being about him. And he
Right.
figured out that everything he said was very
Part of this.
insightful. So
Yeah.
he's very observant, very insightful, and he did it in a creative way that it kind of
Right.
opened up things and made himself reflect. So I think at that moment was where you start seeing his character turn towards making more firm decisions, because he did want to be with her, the Francis's
Sarah.
Sarah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sarah. He just
I mean, he went as far as called her husband at 3 a.m. saying, "I'm in love with your wife."
right.
And his boss was like,
I want to see you in my office. Monday morning.
Meaning you're about to get fired.
Right. For coming on to my wife.
More than that.
Yeah. For straight up saying you love my wife and also having a baby with my wife.
Yep, pretty much. Well, I mean, obviously they didn't know about the pregnancy or anything like
Right.
that.
But
When he does that, that kind of spirals everything into what would seemingly be out of control, but in control, because he does that phone call. He then goes to search for the jacket again. He finds what? What? Wait a minute. No.
Okay, so he goes
Sarah shows back up though before he goes after the jacket, right?
And she was like, "Why did you do that?"
Oh yeah. Well, she wasn't too mad. She was just like, "I said it didn't sound like you."
I said it didn't sound like you.
Yeah.
Oh, because then the cop. That was when the cop came.
Yeah, that's when the cop came.
to get
find
James. And to take
Right.
James away.
Yeah, because the chancellor pretty much deduced, somehow they deduced it was James Lear because of other people they were asking and all that stuff. So they pick up James Lear from his place because he's still hanging out with Michael Douglas's character, Grady. They pick him up, then they go ahead and take him away. He has a conversation with Sarah. Then they eventually, him and his editor go out to try to find the jacket to try to help out James. Find the car based on his deductive reasoning, and then craziness ensues because he has another spell, which we never established the fact. He has all these spells where he passes out.
Right. And I wrote that down. I wrote like spins because that's what I called it. But the spells, I still don't get it.
They never established why, and then it just goes away. But I think what it was stress induced.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
why
it
he
was
was
like
smoking so
based
much
on his,
weed
like
and-
once he was able to let go, I think that was the biggest thing. Letting go. Like he had to let go of his
Let
book.
it go.
He had to let go of his job. He had to let go of his ex-wife. He had to let go of everything, right? Or let go of Sarah. And I think that helped him let go of that stress and thus cure the spells that he was having. But I legit thought he was dying of cancer the whole film. And then that's where this was going.
And something prior to that, we forgot to mention was Katie Holmes read most of his book, fell asleep, said something about horse genealogy
And dental records.
as part of the book.
Yeah.
And yes, that would put me to sleep.
I
too.
missed that. I was.
Yeah, she was
my
on the.
That went
she
in
was-
one ear and out the other.
because she was trying to give him critiques without
Right.
being like, you suck.
Right.
I just want to know why you put horse genealogy and dental records.
It sounds like he had no direction
Right.
with himself, his life, his story, anything. And yeah, I feel like they could have done this, like the spells better if they had built up to any of them in just even a slight way, shown some sort of anxiety-inducing moment. But I felt like all the spells were so random to me.
Well, for him, I feel like when he was stressing himself out and he wouldn't make a decision and he wouldn't move forward with something is when he'd pass out. So if you notice, the first time that happens after, during the speaking engagement, he's talking with her about the possibility of the pregnancy being aborted, and it sounds like he's not really being forthright or firm on I want to be with you. It's always how can I kind of have my cake and eat it too, where I don't have to confirm on something, which ticks off
Right.
Sarah, and Sarah goes, well, obviously I'm going to have to do this myself
Right.
because you're not, really being straightforward with me.
Right.
So, yeah, it's it seemed to be it's definitely not explicitly said, but it seemed to be like that. And I think what the writer may have been thinking of is the fact that ultimately this isn't really important as much as him making decision and finally coming to terms of what he has to do.
Right.
So, that being said, eventually what ends up happening is he loses his manuscript.
Yeah.
The jacket
Oh
ends
my
up
God.
going to Ula.
And-
just out of circumstances because
right.
of the car.
And
Right.
he doesn't like.
And he's not
And
gonna
at that point, I think he realized it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. He's just like, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
take the jacket, boo-boo. Looks good on you.
Yeah. And so he ends up being like, okay. And he already stood firm with finally calling up the chancellor saying, I'm in love with your wife. And then that ends up being to where it proves to her that, yeah, he's finally serious. He's really going forward. And so he ends up losing his job.
Losing his novel.
Yeah, loses his
His
novel because the manuscript goes through.
Near 3,000 page novel.
And then, of course, Crabtree's like, you have a copyright.
Yeah, because he did it all on typewriter.
No. No.
Which
No,
was
boo-boo,
probably
you
a
do
good
not.
thing if he was doing horse genealogy with dental
Right.
records.
What Crabtree said after that, being like, well, maybe it's or was it Crabtree or Vernon that was like, maybe it's for the best?
Oh, no, it's Crabtree.
Was
And
it
then
Crabtree?
Vernon said he was full
right.
of shit.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So,
Fuck you, Vernon.
yeah,
You know.
and then if you notice at the end, when at the end it shows him and Sarah are married, they have the kid, and he's using a laptop and not a typewriter, and he hits save.
And he had save.
Meaning that he's finally learning from his mistakes and that he's
Yeah.
becoming more established and that he is now just going to be a full-time writer.
Right.
And everything got cinched up because what happened was this Crabtree said, hey, if you let me publish James's book and you don't press charges, I will publish your book, which was a piece of shit. Like you could tell by the title. And it had to do with Joe DiMaggio
Marilyn Monroe and Joe
Marilyn Monroe, the
DiMaggio.
last
Right,
American marriage or whatever. Because he has this weird obsession about it, the chancellor. So in the end, it made sense why it was cinched up because it really wasn't cinched up. There was consequences to everything. But it was, what are the consequences worth it? And he basically was like, yeah, the way I did it ended up being worth it because I had to do these things. But yeah, there you go. Wonder Boys.
Wonder Boys.
Screenplay.
I
Screenplay.
gave it a 9.
Nice.
Likes, dislikes?
I don't know. I liked that it was cinched up at the end, but then there was some like things I was just wondering that they could have maybe expanded on a little more. Like we never really knew what happened to Vernon. No, just kidding.
What happened with Vernon? And
No,
Ella?
it's just a lot of it was cinched up, but maybe just in the fine tune bow. You know what I mean?
I gave it a 7. I thought it was good, and I liked a lot of it. I don't know. I thought of it as a lot. I don't know how to put it, but I felt like it didn't push forward as much as I would have liked throughout the movie. That, and I don't know if I can root for an adulterer who went out happy.
That's true.
Personally, I feel like he definitely wrecked a
And
marriage
dog murderer.
and then got the happy ever after. He like killed a dog and then made off with his like the one dude's wife. Like we were rooting against the his boss for what reason? I don't know. He seemed like a
Because he was
fine guy.
weirdly obsessed with
Marilyn Monroe.
But
Like
I
everyone's
mean,
got
like,
their
that's all
hobbies.
weird.
Here's
I
the
mean,
thing, though. The reason why
James Lear was weirdly obsessed with a lot of stuff.
So my thing is, I gave it a 10 because all the characters, it wasn't perfect archetypes. It was humanity. It was just people in a situation, and they weren't horrible people. They weren't great people. They were all just trying to figure out what to do. What's the next step? What's the thing I got to do next? That's the right way to go. Like, because when we go through it, just in generalized life. And again, this is why I like this movie so much, because it's so realistic to life, just life.
To real people.
Yeah, like it's a drama and a comedy in the sense that you'll find something funny in horrible things or, happy things, and also drama in the sense that, yeah, you're going some bad luck. And this guy had some serious bad luck because he kept on running into, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, the dog attacked me. But then my student just shot the dog. Oh, crap. Now they're going to find out about the affair. oh, what about this? What about that? And it's just him stumbling over circumstance until what can he control? Oh, I can control the fact that I want to be with her, and then take it from there, which I did respect in that. I get it. The adulterer thing is not good. You know, you don't want to say
Right.
that. But at the same
We're
token,
not
it's like,
promoting that here at Keep Stream Skip.
No.
Samantha.
What? Excuse me.
We all know what you do at the gym. It's okay.
oh boy.
Hey, I haven't even been to the gym.
I know. Whose fault is that?
We'll see about tomorrow.
So,
For
I
real.
mean, honestly, that's why I found it really, really nice, and it's to me, you know, I don't know, it's one of my favorite films out there because of that, and it's just good, you know. But it's hard to put a finger on. It's one of those films where it's like it has an unexplained resonance with me, I guess. Which is unfair for a critique on the film because it's not being based on
So,
certain things. I gave it a 10,
we're
so.
not sitting here as objective. Like, I mean, we're gonna try to give our best objective point on a film, but the thing is, we're all different people and we have our own subjective points of view. I think that cross over with our. I mean, this is just
Right.
our opinions on. Film.
there's films that I gave out 10 out of 10, and you were like
What the
4.
Yeah. So direction.
0.
I gave it an 8.
I also gave it an 8.
Because I feel like the character, they could have just had a little more
I feel like there
direction.
could have, more structure to what was going on. But
Really?
it was still,
Yes? Okay.
yeah, no,
I didn't
but I
have
mean,
any
it was
fault.
still it was good.
Yeah.
It was fun. I just thought
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I was trying to think where there might have been fault, so I just kind of threw a 10 at it. Not that it's the perfect thing ever. I just was like, everybody was a distinctive character who acted out their part and did so with consistency, so I let it roll.
All right, acting.
Which is why I also gave it a 10.
Nice.
So,
I gave it a 9.
I gave it an 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they could have went a little deeper and even a little more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt
More
like they were all
depth to
just
their
like
role.
More depth. to
right.
the role.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Like,
were all
we
just
really didn't
people.
find out too much about, like, Katie's background. Or
Right.
I remember
I was
her
thinking
background.
about her the whole time too. Like, she really tried to get with the professor, and then she just kind of was like, "All right," and we never got anything out of her other than her.
That's,
I don't even know what.
we just,
We just didn't get anything else.
right.
Like,
so
she's
I would've-
supposedly a really great writer. I was expecting at the end when they were
well,
giving
she's
out.
like an editor, too.
Yeah, she
Oh,
became
that's
an
right.
editor.
She's an
Yeah.
editor.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, so, but what kind of motivated her to do that? Like,
right.
you know,
Money.
I feel like we
the
kind of,
job.
I don't know.
or like, I don't know,
All right, cinematographer.
I gave it a 7.
8.
I gave it an 8.
Yeah, just average.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing special, nothing like,
Nothing really stood out as like, ooh,
right.
look
Yeah.
at that. Editing, I also gave an 8.
I gave it an 8 as well.
7.
Yeah, I thought pacing could have been a little bit faster, to be honest. But maybe that's just because it was.
And I mean, I know that it was filmed in sequence, but I feel like it was out of sequence sometimes. Like, I didn't
Feel
know
you.
what was going on at what point. Because,
Felt a little jumbled sometimes.
yeah.
I felt like some things, and I feel like, again, this credits to screenplay, just didn't make sense in my head as to why they would do that. Like, why in the world would you break into your current, soon-to-be ex-wife's house, and then why would her parents be so chill with someone random drinking their bourbon and smoking on their couch, and then they would...
Not
I
even,
don't
like,
know.
coming in and
Wasn't
being
that going
like,
to screenplay?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And
Oh, okay. I was
also,
like-
it was accredited to screenplay, why I docked it, why it's a 7,
Oh,
but
okay.
also just...
I was like, I thought we were in editing.
Yeah, anyhow, I had to go back to that. But editing, just like any of that didn't make sense as to why they kept it, in my opinion.
what
Yeah.
did you give
For
it?
the pacing.
What you did?
For editing?
Yeah.
All right, I just gave it a 7. It's fine.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you
Music
wanna talk
score,
about
though,
that.
I gave a 10.
I gave it a 7.
I thought it was good.
Music score I gave a 7, but it was okay. But the problem is that, like, I felt like there should have been more time tied in with the main song that actually ended up winning an Academy Award from Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Really?
So-
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I honestly should probably start rethinking my scores for music and score, because honestly, when I think 10 out of 10, I think all of Interstellar or like Time from Inception, like those songs make a 10 out of 10. Maybe I should be more lenient with my 10s, but
Well, I think that my score is based on like, does it coincide with the movie itself or the atmosphere? Like, if we were to have done this last season and we had Last House on the Left, it probably would have been a 0.
0. What in the world
Yeah.
is this?
Because like,
Right.
you know,
Fair. Fair.
so I feel like it has to, like, is it appropriate for the mood and stuff like that? So, all right,
Yeah, I agree
overall,
there.
I gave it an 8, and I would stream it.
That is exactly what I said.
A 9 and keep.
Nice.
Nice.
As one of your faves.
Yeah.
Actually, we do own it, so.
Nice.
All right.
Woo-woo, Wonder Boy.
All right, this is concluding the first episode of our new season.
And that'll take
And
us out. Any
first
final
recording.
thoughts?
I'm glad they can finally see our lovely faces. Maybe.
Like, subscribe, give us money. No, just kidding.
Give money.
Comment on any movies that you want us to watch and review.
I actually do have a recommendation written down from a friend. He watched a very eccentric film and wants us to watch it. So,
Oh, okay, great.
FYI, we have a recommendation.
Another one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.